Okay, good afternoon, friends. Rusty back with you here on this Monday as again, strong storms continue to develop with a potential for some flooding rains and just a bad time to have these storms develop over Metro Orlando and areas off towards the east. Good to see you. As always, CFLW is sponsored by the Lane Law Firm of Central Florida. They are hometown homeowners insurance attorneys offering free consultation and policy reviews that walk you through that insurance claim process. You can scan the QR code on the bottom of your screen, get to their website. It's leanonmelaw.com if you would like more information. We have one really nasty storm right now on the border of Osceola and Orange counties. We've had additional stronger storms over portions of the East Coast. And once again, it's just potentially going to be an active afternoon. It's one that we're going to have to monitor here and see how things play out. I do want to get with what's happening with this storm right now. And we have some great camera shots to show you. This is live right now down on the southern side of the Metro Orlando area. This is near Epic Universe. This camera is looking southeast in the Sand Lake area over the Epic Universe property. And you can just see the turbulence in the atmosphere right now. Dark, low base clouds, the old SLCs, the old scary looking clouds out there, but torrential rainfall and abundant lightning. And it's a bad time of the day to have some thunderstorms over places like the Turnpike and the I-4 corridor. Let's get into what's happening with that storm right now as I welcome everyone in on this newest live stream here at CFLW on this Monday. I hope you had a great holiday weekend. Here's the storm that's showing you some of these shots that we're seeing right now. You can see that Conway cam looking east, picking up the south edge, on the leading north edge of that storm as it looks off to the south and east. So storm, Campbell, Kissimmee, Buenaventura Lakes, over MCO, Medical City. The roughest part of this storm is lifting just north of the beach line right now, headed up towards Avalon and the Lee Vista Boulevard area. Special weather statement is in effect for the next 32 minutes. So until 5:15, the storm has the opportunity to produce some 50-mile-an-hour winds and some quarter-inch size hail. Look, we're going to have marginal opportunities for severe storms for today. Likely to stay in the special weather statement category as far as wind threat of around 50. Hail size should be less than 3/4 of an inch. But the problem is we're also going to have a flood threat that comes along with the ride with a lot of these storms as well. So Orlando, Kissimmee, Wedgefield, Azalea Park, Buenaventura Lake, some of the areas impacted by this special weather statement. This is the actual bulletin for the National Weather Service office. Strong thunderstorm impacting south central Orange, north central Osceola through 5:15. At 4:29, radar tracking a strong thunderstorm near Buenaventura Lakes, and again, not moving much. If anything, it's expanding north. 50-mile-an-hour winds and some pea-sized hail. A lot of our viewers live in this area. If you've been impacted by this storm, let me know. Kissimmee's last report was an 18-mile-an-hour wind, but they had a 41-mile-an-hour wind gust last hour as that storm moved through the area. So this is a gnarly storm moving mainly south and east of downtown Orlando up the eastern beltway here, up the 417. So this is going to be trying to push into places like Conway and Azalea Park, eventually Waterford Lakes and the Alafaya area, crossing 408 as well. So if you do commute on the east side of Metro Orlando all the way back down to Lake Nona, Medical City, Narcoossee, then even back down 192 towards Celebration, this is where we have the most impactful storms right now. Again, up to 50-mile-an-hour winds. Make sure you got both hands on the wheel. Just like the last couple of days, my friends, we have not changed the overall pattern with the western areas mainly dry, the prevailing winds out of the west. Storms are pushing from west to east again. East Coast sea breeze penned along the coast. We've already had one severe thunderstorm warning for the northern sides of Flagler County. Additional stronger storms are developing right now just along the coast. They're isolated in nature. They're not necessarily severe, but they're impactful. They're producing some extremely heavy rainfall and a ton of lightning. This storm from Oak Hill back down towards Titusville, which, snap your fingers, there's a special weather statement on it. I knew that was going to be the next one. 45 minutes in duration till 5:30. This one has nearly 600 lightning strikes in the last 15 minutes. This is a rowdy storm along and east of 95 towards US 1 and A1A. So again, new special weather statement there. Give you the details on that one. Titusville, Oak Hill, Haulover Canal, Mims, and Scottsmore. The bulletin itself, strong thunderstorm will impact northwestern Brevard, southeastern Volusia through 5:30. Got a thunderstorm near Scottsmore. Again, what is the thing that's very similar with all of these? Right now, the movement is basically nothing. This is the flood threat today. We do have an opportunity for some excessive rainfall in portions of central Florida. These storms could, snap your fingers, produce 1 to 3 inches of rain. Then you get an additional storm or very slow movement. You could get 2 to 4 plus inches of rain in a couple of spots today. The highest threat for that is Metro Orlando south and east. All right. So Osceola, Brevard counties for sure, as these thunderstorms again slowly, eventually work their way towards the East Coast. Additional stronger storms, and this could absolutely be the next special weather statement back into Osceola County, including Harmony and the Holopole areas. And again, this is all going to eventually, as it picks up some speed, work their way off to the east. The individual cells may be moving north of east, but the whole progression is going to be from west to east the remainder of these afternoon hours. So that's the situation across the area right now. Again, you're looking at our live camera network on the left-hand side of your screen. I want to get back over to our epic cam because it is epic right now. I mean, that is nothing but gray sky out there across the area. Going to cause some problems there, my friends. So please just make sure that you're very cautious of the situation in those spots. And again, just make sure that you understand the situation there with the very heavy rain and the gusty winds that are likely to be produced out of some of that situation. We'll swing on over right now to our Conway cam. And again, on the right-hand side of your screen, that's the leading edge of that special weather statement. There's your shelf cloud moving into the eastern sides of Metro Orlando. It's a gnarly looking storm right now. You can see the heavy rain. Will be a good gust front being produced out of that. So we should see the winds in Conway begin to pick up imminently. And then we'll get the heavy rainfall and a tremendous amount of lightning that could be produced out of some of that activity as well. Still left over with just some overcast skies on the western side of Metro Orlando. Live look outside the Winter Garden, and we'll monitor the situation for you there. We'll swing on over to our Disney cam for you right now. It's a gray sky across Lake Buena Vista. There has been some rain in the area. You still have to be very cautious of the lightning for places like the Magic Kingdom, even on over towards the SeaWorld area right now. Just all the attractions A&I Drive. That thunderstorm is lurking at the hour in those spots. So we've got our camera network for you guys live. We'll continue to monitor the situation there. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Good afternoon to you as well. Let me jump over to the chat and get your chat here. Now, again, if you guys are new to the channel, we're going to be bringing up some of our chat from time to time on the screen. So good afternoon from Lake Placid where it is raining. Appreciate that from Lynette. And again, you have a question about the forecast, feel free to drop it in the comments section below. Would love to hear from you guys what's happening in your area. Again, wisdom of the crowd. We have a great weather community here on CFLW. Want to hear from you guys. In Wedgefield, 94 degrees, 52% humidity from Nancy. Here's the thing. Another steamy afternoon. There's plenty of juice in the atmosphere to help to fire up these storms. We'll talk about as we move along how things are going to be changing in Metro Orlando coming up and how it's going to be changing across Central Florida, because there are some changes to what I expect for the rest of the week ahead for us here. Again, appreciate everyone taking a quick second, hitting that like button for me. Make sure you're subscribed. It is a subscriber-only chat, but we want you guys to interact and be a part of the chat as well. So take a brief second. It's always free to subscribe to the channel. Do appreciate all of those who are also members of the channel as well. Okay, so what did I do there? Now I'm bouncing back and forth. There we go. Okay. Let me see if I hit this button. Will it go away? Oh, no. All right. Interesting. Now I don't know what happened here. All right. Give me 1 second. Oh, because I made that 1. Now let's see. There we go. Every so often I'll hit a rogue button. So apologies for that. A lot of technology here, but hopefully you guys are enjoying the presentation. So Chicken Nugget says, bunch of lightning booms. Hey, Beach Girl for real, I hope you're doing well. Hey, Kristen, good to see you. I'm in HC. It's been thundering for ages. Appreciate all of the comments. Thanks for letting me know what's happening. Again, on right now, because there is a healthy thunderstorm southeast side of Metro Orlando. Special weather statement has been hoisted for that for the next 24 minutes. Big impacts are going to be some winds of up to 50 miles an hour. Torrential downpours. Not a great scenario right now. Up to 417, up 15, Lee Vista, on over towards the Avalon area, Azalea Park. This is going to stream up towards Alafaya and eventually on over towards UCF as well. So any of the Eastern Beltway travel right now is not great as it connects on the south side. Cimarron included in this. OBT, JYP back down to 192 there as well. So even towards Celebration and Four Corners. And this is what I'm talking about. You got to be cautious. Lake Buena Vista right now is on the edge of additional activity developing. We have about 40 plus lightning strikes in this view in the last 15 minutes. So this part of it, kind of the tail end, is ramping up in intensity a bit, and that could easily go right back over the attractions area. So you know, anyone who works there, who's there right now, make sure they got a heads up. This is a good storm over Harmony and Holopal. Again, right now, there's really nothing to track. All of these storms are virtually stationary. I can show you that at the loop. The other thing to mention is, again, could there be a few rogue storms out west? I don't want to leave our western friends out of this. These are likely to be pulse storms, meaning they develop very quickly. They drop a heavy amount of rainfall and a tremendous amount of lightning in about a 15 to 30 minute time frame at the most, and then they die back down. These are going to be much more isolated in nature. There is another storm right now over the Tampa area, basically right over Tampa Bay. Again, bad time for this. McDill, South Tampa, Davis Island, the Gibsonton area, Palm River, Clairemel, all included in this. I would imagine the winds here in South Tampa will be picking up. Again, just a stronger storm. Nice little cluster of lightning there. Cluster of storms on the southeast side of Hillsborough County. A few more thunderstorms here. Southern sides of Polk County, Lake Wales, and Bartow. And the activity, again, is quite numerous across our central and eastern areas with more isolated activity back off towards the west. So let's take a look at the loop. And you'll get an idea of how things have played out over the last 2 hours. Now, again, there's been a little bit of forward speed, and everything is pushing generally off to the east. Certainly a bit of a north push with a bit of this activity as well. The lightning count has been elevated again for today. When thunder roars, you head indoors. You know, it's a working day for a lot of us. We're off of the holiday weekend, but anyone who's out and about right now needs to really be cautious of these storms. You know, too many reports over the weekend of some lightning, you know, some folks being impacted by some lightning strikes. We don't ever like to hear that. We know that these storms in the summer months are going to produce a tremendous amount of lightning, so we have to respect them. Also, of course, when you're driving and you're running into heavier rain, turn around, don't drown. If you're unsure of how much water is over the roadway, the easiest thing is just to avoid that. The other simple thing is just to slow down to avoid hydroplaning. There will be some ponding on the roadways being developed out of this, and not just, you know, city streets, not just some neighborhood roads. We're talking about some major thoroughfares like the 417, like 95 on the northern side of Brevard County, southern sides of Volusia County. That's going to produce a lot of rain in a short time. Again, over the last few frames of this 2-hour loop, you will see very little movement overall here as these storms are getting stronger. They're expanding more than actually pushing in one direction. Overall, though, they'll nudge from west to east the remainder of the day. All right, let's bring back on the radar, which we did. We've got Conway checking in with some rain nearby and some thunder, but nothing major at this time. Appreciate that. Hey, Jody, good afternoon to you as well. From the Shellnut family, I drive getting a lot of thunder, no rain yet. I'm doing real well. Appreciate that as well. Hello, unofficial weather-wise man. Good to see you. Good to see Noble Pills in the chat. Good to see all of our friends and all of our moderators as well. You will see them in green. So check them out. Make sure that you say hi to them here. Indeed. Okay, so let's go back over to our cameras. I want to bring you back over to Lake Buena Vista. I told you that thunderstorm was getting a little bit closer. You can see the winds beginning to freshen up right now in Lake Buena Vista. That's the gust front, right? We've talked about this. As these storms develop, you're going to get that push of cooler air. If you feel that push of cool breeze, you will know that the thunderstorm is closer to your area, and it's probably high time to tail it back inside because that thunderstorm is building into your region. And again, we can see that breezy condition beginning to develop there. So likely within the next half hour, we're going to get some storm activity within that camera. Again, it's nothing but a dark gray sky over the Epic area. This is Epic Universe area, Sand Lake, southern sides of Metro Orlando, looking off to the south and to the east from this camera. And it's looking right into the heart of that special weather statement storm. So great to have this camera. Again, for those folks who travel on the southeast side of Metro Orlando, that includes MCO. Likely more airport delays, by the way, in association with this storm, airport weather warnings. And then we look to the opposite side. So we have a southeast view, and then we have a southwest view. Now you can see some lightning right there on the horizon, right? So there is some thunderstorm activity kind of redeveloping back off towards the west. These are interesting cameras to continue to look at here. And then our Conway cam, as our friends here in Conway have mentioned, and I told you, the winds are going to be freshening a bit in Conway. You can clearly see that shelf cloud. This is looking east over Lake George, if you know this area. And you see the rain shaft and you see that shelf cloud. Always have to watch out for a little bit of rotation with these storms. Everything has cooperated the last several days. There's been a couple of flare-ups when the sea breezes interact of some, gnarly winds, and some of that has some rotation associated with it. It's something I'll monitor. Again, the tornado threat is very low in all of these scenarios, but it's never zero. So we have to watch that. If nothing else, you get that lower and get that really cool shot from our Conway cam at this point in time. I'll bring up our quad box so you can see me and our 3 live cameras here. The great thing about the ability that we have here on the channel is we have all of this technology. We have all of these cameras for you guys, and we can just literally go from camera to camera and show you. So there's the Epic cam right there. I'm going to take the Winter Garden camera and I'm going to replace it with our Conway cam to give you guys kind of where the most active weather is. And we can show you guys more than 3 cameras at a time as well. But you can clearly see, again, anytime you see a little bit of a flash there on the Epic cam, that's some lightning. There is the thunderstorm on the north end over the Conway area and the building thunderstorm right now over Lake Buena Vista. I'll go back over to the radar. And because I'm a little bit smaller in the screen, I'm going to zoom in real tight. Now, a lot of you folks are watching on your TVs, but if you're not, you're watching on your smart tablets or your phones. I appreciate that as well. Again, this thunderstorm producing some winds of up to 50 miles an hour. We do have a special weather statement in effect until 5:15. Got to watch out for the flood threat too. I'm going to make sure I bring on these wind gusts. Let's see if the airport's reported one. So right now, a 20 at the executive airport. Nothing at MCO yet, but there is some lightning right over the airfield. If I zoom in this view, in the last 15 minutes, there's been 100 lightning strikes, 103. That's going to cause some arrival and departure delays there. As I was speaking, the Weather Service has basically filled in the gap with a special weather statement between the one that we have, southeast Orlando, southern Volusia, northern Brevard, with a larger special weather statement that's now in effect all the way until 5:45. So again, storm movement will be east. A lot of the areas that have been impacted by storms the last several days are going to be the major players again for this afternoon. But slower movement today could also produce the opportunity for some areas of flooding. So that is going to be a concern as we go in time. Remember, as these storms develop, your first threat is going to be wind and hail, right, in any rotation. And then the longer duration we go with these storms, the deeper into the afternoon or early evening these storms stick around, you start to transition into a bit of a flood threat as well. We had that along portions of the Brevard County coast late yesterday. Again, appreciate everyone tuning in. If you're here, thanks for taking a quick second, hitting that like button for me. As always, CFLW is sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida. I think Bobby probably forgot, or probably thought I forgot his tumbler that he gave me, but I didn't. Which I got the old water in there now. Hey, KT Joe Nitz, hello to you. Thank you for being a moderator. Rusty says, do you foresee any rain in Newport Richey tonight? Rusty, it's very unlikely. I could see a rogue thunderstorm developing between now and about 6 or 6:30. That's your chance. Otherwise, it's likely all going to be off towards your east. But you would be quite fortunate if you catch a thunderstorm in the Newport Richey area for today. The chance is quite low. I want to give you guys the details of this new special weather statement. You can see quite how large it is. And the really interesting thing is it's almost a pentagon. It's almost a six-sided one. Sometimes these special weather statements can take very unusual shapes. So we nearly have a pentagon-shaped special weather statement here. Generally speaking, the storm's again moving north at 15, but there will be propagation or developing farther to the east as well. Main threat is 15 quarters. That hasn't changed. Let me give you the details of that special weather statement for you right now from the bulletin. Strong thunderstorm will impact northwest Brevard, southeast Orange, northeast Osceola through 5:45. Doppler radar tracking a strong thunderstorm along and extending from 9 miles southwest of the Lone Cabbage Fish Camp to Lake Nona, moving north at around 10, 50, and some pea-sized hail. So if this storm does really track due north, or more than anything, these two cells merge together, you are going to get some very heavy rainfall here. Now look, not the highest populated area. Narcoossee, Lake Mary Jane is down here as well. But any of these spots can be prone to some flooding. If it back builds a little bit, we would put more of the Lake Nona area in that threat as well. And you can see some individual cells developing. I promise you this is all just going to fill in. This is going to end up being one massive line. And again, the slower movement could produce some very locally heavy downpours. We'll take a look at the how much rain is falling right now coming up. Want to get back over to this special weather statement. This is a nasty storm. Titusville, Mims, on over towards Oak Hill. Again, tremendous amount of lightning here. We have now well over 500 lightning strikes just in that view. Still holding around 550 in a little bit of a broader view. Thunderstorm activity. You can see the lightning. Again, you don't have to be underneath this tremendous veil of cloud coverage and this heavier rainfall to get some lightning strikes. We kind of have a few more strikes in the clear south in Indian River City. That's why I say when thunder roars, you got to head indoors. You got to respect the storm because lightning can strike 10, even 15 miles away from the actual thunderstorm. So please be very cautious. These are hot storms. We've had a tremendous amount of lightning the last several days with these storms. In Central Florida right now, the lightning count is pushing. I really wish it was 1776 because then that would fall in line with our July 4th weekend, but it's really darn close right now. Again, there were some heftier thunderstorms in Flagler and portions of Volusia County earlier. Daytona Beach had a 37-mile-an-hour wind associated with that. Had a severe storm up in the Palm Coast area. There's another special weather statement up here in Alachua County, I believe, here near the Gainesville area. So anyone who lives up in the Gainesville area with UF, stronger storm there, but big break in the action. Again, just like it has been the last couple of days, a rogue shower or storm could develop over Marion, over Sumter, over Lake counties, places like Wildwood and the Villages. Not completely out of the woods today to see a few lightning strikes, so keep that in mind for the late afternoon rounds of golf. A nice little cell has developed over Dade City, San Antonio, just north and east of our friends in Wesley Chapel, so along 301, extending back down towards 75. Our additional thunderstorm right now, not severe, not strong, but sitting right over Tampa Bay. I mean, right over the heart of Tampa Bay, but it is drifting a little bit to the north. So it's over Davis Island right now, but it's lifting north to downtown Tampa towards the Ybor City area. Again, bad time of the day, right at rush hour, to have some heavier downpours here. Watch out for a little bit of some ponding on the roadways there, I-4, and as you work your way up to the north. This thunderstorm should build a little bit north and then push to the east, so it's likely to impact places like Gibsonton and then potentially back over towards Brandon in the next 15 minutes. Seems as just seen possible tornado in Titusville. All right. Well, I'll continue to monitor the situation. Again, keep the reports coming. Now, let's be clear about something too. These storms likely will have some inherent rotation as they move across the Indian and the Banana Rivers. We've talked about that multiple times, right? Where there's an opportunity that as these storms move across, much less friction of the waterways, you get inherent rotation. If nothing else, look for some stronger winds associated with this. They're going to be straight line. Looking right now, this is the velocity product, so I'm looking at the winds in association with this storm. Let's take a look at it. There's a little bit stronger wind just west of 95, a little bit of a couple here, but the winds that are outbound are not very strong. You know, not only do you have to have winds that are rotating, but you got to have some pretty strong winds too. See if I can bring this on here. Yeah, there we go. So that's 20, and then the incoming. I mean, there is certainly a little bit of spin right here. It's not tight. I'm not overtly concerned, but let me say this. You're probably seeing some good old SLCs right now. You're looking at some scary looking clouds. If you look at the Conway cam right now, it's a pretty common sight where you get a little bit of a lowering associated with this. The Conway cam is a beautiful picture right now, guys, because it really tells the story. It's the gust front. Could have a little bit of lowering in rotation ahead of the main line of that storm. You can see the rain shaft clearly, and then right where you get that heavier rain, that's where the tremendous lightning comes up. So it's a very classic, if you will, diagram of what a thunderstorm looks like in Florida this time of the year. So that Conway cam is telling the story there. There certainly is a little bit of broad rotation here, right? I agree with that. Couple, it's not extremely tight. Let's see what happens as that moves across towards the Indian River. Fresh winds here for sure. Eastern Orange County. Pretty garbled up in southern Brevard. So this right here is exactly what you're seeing. You got, this is our Conway cam looking into this very broad rotation. That's the lowering. I mean, guys, this is it. That's the lowering that you see right there. What you're seeing on radar is what you're seeing from our Conway cam. All right? That little spin is the lowering right there. All right? Apologies for that. I wanted to bring myself on camera, okay? So again, this is that broad rotation with the storm moving east of Conway that we can see on radar. You can see the lowering. It's such a classic view. Then you get behind it, there's your rain shaft with all of the lightning. So the gust front is out ahead of this on the left-hand side of your screen. With that, you can get some lowering being produced out of it. Then behind it, you get the high precipitation part of the thunderstorm, right? So classic shelf cloud with just a little bit of lowering. Now, this is a tremendous view to see if this does anything else gnarly. I'm looking at the radar while you guys are looking at this as well. I don't see anything here that is overtly concerning to me, but that is how we marry things up, right? We have a live camera, we've got our radar system, we are looking at the heart of that storm and what we're seeing from this right now. So it's an interesting scenario to look at for sure. And again, I'll bring on both so you can see our camera, and that's that broad disturbance, that broad area of rotation. Then behind it, stronger winds, and that's where all the heavy rain and lightning is. If I go back over to reflectivity, you'll see lighter reflectivity here, and then the beefier stuff down here, okay? So this is what's moving through just east of Conway. Again, nothing more than very broad rotation, not concerned about it, but it's a really neat shot. Yeah, I've been looking at the Titusville one too, guys. I've been keeping a close eye on it. Special marine warnings are up as you would expect. Certainly, again, it's the same area right here. Certainly a little bit of lowering. This is not too far away from the radar site, by the way. So from this view, we're only at 2,200 feet. That is very low level. We're just 30 miles from the radar. So this is a great view of that spin. Okay? This is gate-to-gate shear. Couple of pockets of stronger shear associated with this. If you notice again here in Conway, not nearly as much, but there are some brisker areas. Down tight. So gate to gate means right next to each other. So the spin in the atmosphere. All right. It is an area to keep an eye on. Look, if you live in Titusville, you want to be cautious. No reason not to be. It's fine. Just make sure you're away from west-facing walls, okay? You don't have to take any special precautions more than that right now, but you wouldn't want to have stronger winds coming in from the west, you know, knocking anything into the house or anything like that. Now, thunderstorms are beginning to ramp up, so now we have a severe thunderstorm warning, all right? And it's from this part of the cell that we've been watching here from Conway. I mean, just look at the lightning going up right now with that one. So we do have a severe thunderstorm warning. So the storms are beginning to pick up in intensity too, guys. Real quickly here, just wanted to bring this on. Creator Warp says rain gauge hit 5 inches an hour, 4 corners with the current storm. Yeah, we'll look at when I have a second, I'll take a look at the precip, but no doubt about it that it is a significant storm there as far as the opportunity for what it could be producing. Okay, so let's look at our severe thunderstorm warning. Now, the interesting thing about this one is they only issued it for till 5:30. It's not a long warning whatsoever. So hail threat, radar indicated. Max hail size, 3/4 of an inch. So beginning to pick up a bit there. Don't see anything about rotation here. If there was a tornado possible, it would be in this summary, right? Wedgefield, Avalon Park, Bithlo, and Christmas. Let me give you the details. Severe thunderstorm warning for southeastern Orange County till 5:30. Severe thunderstorm over Avalon Park, moving northeast at 20. So we're finally seeing some forward movement with this at least. Again, that storm over Avalon Park with 60-mile-an-hour winds and some penny-sized hail. Expect damage to roofs, siding, and trees in association with that activity. So here comes the storms all beginning to merge together. As I mentioned, this was likely to fill in, and we're getting pockets of some pretty intense weather with this. Now look, as these outflow boundaries begin to merge, you could have, again, some rotation with the storms. You could have really slow movement of storms producing a tremendous amount of rainfall and the flood threat that exists with that. Again, we got to watch out for, as these storms connect, you notice the bright fuchsia and blues. That's really high reflectivity and likely some smaller hail in association with the storm here. Again, that has potentially 3/4 of an inch. Storms are also developing back in western Orange County. Again, from our live cameras, take a look at the Winter Garden camera in the center of your screen. Good storm developing there as well. So it's just getting a little bit more active at the hour. Plenty of heat energy here to produce these storms. Again, you know, even far west, thunderstorm over Tampa, Southeast Hillsboro, the storm over Dade City hasn't moved. It's been very slow. There's the thunderstorm right now picking up from the Winter Garden camera over the Four Corners area, 27 in association with that one. Storms are trying to move out now from south central Orlando back down towards Meadowwoods, Hunter Creek, Buenaventura Lakes. Things are looking improved there. Again, our camera network live for you guys, keeping an eye on the situation. I want to show you this Epic camera again. Still nothing but gray sky out there as the thunderstorm is moving away. But that's an ominous sky to be out in the attractions area right now. Again, this is from Sand Lake, looking back off to the south and to the east. If we look back off towards the west right now, fairly overcast, still a few thunderstorms on the right-hand side of your screen. And again, the building thunderstorms just to the south of Winter Garden, kind of far southwest orange, southern portions of Lake County. You can see that thunderstorm developing. Now, if there's a little bit of a northeast movement with this cell, this could run right over our camera there in Winter Garden. We'll be monitoring that. Again, nothing ever was produced from that lowering from the Conway cam, but it was a neat shot. There's your severe thunderstorm in the distance, the heavy rainfall, a tremendous amount of lightning, and potentially up to even 3/4 inch size hail in association with that particular cell. Guys, let's get the hearts out in chat for Creator Warp. Good luck with the channel, brother. Appreciate the local coverage, man. $10 super chat from Creator Warp. Let's get the hearts out. Big thank you there. Appreciate that. Thank you for, first of all, being a part of the channel. Thank you for taking a quick second and letting me know what's happening in your area. And of course, I appreciate the super chat as well. Thank you very much, my friend. And welcome to the channel if you're your first time. And if not, thank you for joining again. Again, live only channel. I'm only on when there is impactful weather here in Central Florida. If you guys wouldn't mind, I'm going to take one quick second here, do something real quick. Bear with me here. Trying to readjust something. Hopefully that will take it off now. Okay. Just checking. All right, now we're good. Been working on a few things and all of that. Okay. Hey Kyle, Rusty, thanks to you and thanks to all of your family. I appreciate that, Kyle. Thank you, and I hope you're doing well. Richard says, looks like night right now, the blue sky in Melbourne. Yeah, really interesting scenario, guys, for a lot of these areas. Again, if you're just tuning in, we do have some stronger storms that are in effect right now. So let me get back to it. Now, why is that thing doing that again? Every time I think I have this solved, I don't. I'll have to look into it a little bit further. All right. Once again, several special weather statements. Severe thunderstorm warning for portions of Orange County. Gnarly looking storms. Low bases to these storms. Very heavy rainfall. All right. So got to watch out for the flood threat that comes along with this. Have to continue to watch out for some rotation. I'm always going to take a look at that situation. Now, the first thing you're going to see here is these bright reds. That is some extremely strong straight line winds. They're going in one direction, but the winds being produced out of this cell right now are likely in the 40 to 50 mile an hour range. So you can see some of these brighter reds. Yeah, we're pushing 45 to 47 miles an hour right now. Fairly congested here, not concerned about that. Again, always got to watch out as the storms come over the river. But again, the wind field here is much more garbled. That doesn't mean you're not going to see a lowered base. It's not going to mean there's not some broad rotation, but we're probably far away from having any other threat from that. But notice how these storms have completely filled in the gap. Now this whole line is going to begin its march off towards the east. Let's look at the rainfall rates associated with this as well. I'm going to bring on that product for you guys. So again, when you're looking at this, you're going to want to look for the blacks and the blues. Those are rainfall rates of over 3 inches an hour, and there's a lot of those blacks and blues on this map right now. So in the Wedgefield area, that's a frog strangler. That's 5.7 inches of rain an hour right now. Thankfully, there's some forward speed with that cell, but this is the flood threat that's going to come along for the ride. If there's flash flooding, you will see that pop up on your screen. We'll keep an eye out for flood advisories, but up and down this line, tremendous amounts of rain are falling right now. Again, trying to push these storms out of one area quickly, but it's going to take some time overall. So if this storm were to sit over these areas for a full hour, these are the kind of rainfall totals we'd expect. Hopefully, there's a bit of a push east and we get no more than a half hour in one spot of this tremendous amount of rain. So hopefully we're looking more at like 2-3 inches of rain rather than 4 and 5. Even into the eastern sides of Metro Orlando, near Avalon Park and the 408 Dean Road, Waterford Lakes, you have pockets of 3 and 4 inch rainfall rates per hour. Bad situation there. You can see that shelf cloud moving into Winter Garden as well. Product resets once we get some new information. On the leading edge of this cell, I told you that that one would probably be the next special weather statement one where they just filled it all in. But again, east and northeast sides of Osceola County, 5.7 inch rainfall rates per hour. This will try and make a run to I-95 in portions of Brevard County. So certainly big pockets here. And the Weather Service has just said, you know what, we're just going to fire up a larger severe thunderstorm warning too. So again, these storms are getting more impactful. I'm going to go back over to our reflectivity. And now this entire area. Here's the problem. Now the hail size is coming up. Okay? Now the hail size is an issue. I was quite hopeful that we were going to avoid hail that was going to have a problem. But I got to go into my headline here, and I got to change this to coin-sized hail. I was hoping we'd just have the pea-sized hail. The 0.88, that's nickel-sized hail. That is your threshold, if you will, for damaging hail. There could be some issues now within this thunderstorm for the hail size and the damage that it could be producing. So let me give you the details on that one. And if you guys are just tuning in, appreciate you. Again, live only channel. Drop it in the comments section below. Let me know what's happening in your area. Whoop. Don't worry, that was just my lean log mug. Sounded like I dropped a bomb though, geez. Erica says lightning is popping up everywhere in Titusville. Noble Pills, if you're with me, for some reason, when I bring on the social layer, it's also activating a layer overlay 1. I don't understand why, but just wanted to throw that out there if you want to take a look at it. All right, so let's take a look at this new severe thunderstorm warning. It goes for 37 minutes, so until the top of the hour. Again, tornado possible. This was the thing that I mentioned from the last severe thunderstorm warning that was not there. Now we have some rotation within these storms enough where the Weather Service is mentioning it, all right? So what that means is there's some rotation, tornado possible. Hail threat, radar indicated, up to nickel-sized hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds, so we've upped it a notch. Titusville, Wedgefield, Bithlo, Mims, and Christmas all included within this. Here is the actual bulletin from the National Weather Service office. Severe thunderstorm warning, northwest Brevard, east central Orange counties, goes until 6 o'clock. Severe thunderstorm, big line, Christmas, Mims, that's the line. And these things are nearly stationary right now. That's a problem. As these storms are merging, as the outflow boundaries are coming from the western storms, hitting the East Coast sea breeze storms, everything slows up. You're getting 4, 5, even 6 inch rainfall rates per hour within this, and it's not moving quickly. It is in more rural areas, but there's not zero population here as well. And some of this is beginning to creep into the western sides of Brevard County as well. So Mims in the Titusville area. So a tremendous storm here. I'll keep an eye on this rotation. Here's another pocket of it right here, just west of 95. Again, we're looking for reds and greens close to each other. The brighter the reds, the brighter the greens, that's the stronger the winds are right now. So we call that a couplet. That means that winds are going in different directions close to each other. I can take a look at the individual pixels. So right now we have within this about, we'll call it 60-mile-an-hour spin, right? Fairly tight. Could that produce a brief funnel or a brief tornado? It's not out of the question. That's why thunderstorm still off to the south and to the west of the Winter Garden area. So we'll have to monitor that. Still a quite interesting sky looking south and east towards those strong and severe thunderstorms from the Epic Cam. Again, Conway had the lowering a little bit earlier. You can still see a little bit there ahead of that, a little bit of gray sky behind it. And then again, looking at the actual severe storm back off towards the east. So again, kind of a situation here to watch those storms drifting away from Metro Orlando, but on the stronger side and intensifying as they do. Continue to monitor our camera network for you guys. Appreciate you guys coming in here. Let me know what's happening in the chat. Okay. Yep, hope the stream's good. All right, again, so smaller severe thunderstorm warning is going to expire in 2 minutes. The larger severe thunderstorm warning is going to take over here. I want to track this cell for you guys as to where it's going and who it's going to be impacting. So the first thing I'm going to do real fast is I'm going to drop off these special weather statements. Just going to be a little bit easier to see those. So let's let those go bye-bye. Let me get, again, the update here. North at 2. Boy, it's just not moving. I mean, it's hard to really even track anything, guys. But you can clearly see that this storm is moving towards Mims. Now, again, we have a lot of towers and reporting sites here at the Cape. So we're going to have a really good idea of the wind that's going to be coming through. So there you go, Titusville, Indian River City. All of this, and right along this leading edge, there could be some rotation within some of these cells. If nothing else, it's going to start to push out a tremendous amount of rain. So improving conditions for Avalon Park. Still heavy rain though, but we're getting the worst weather east of you right now with the strongest winds. Tremendous amount of lightning though, 650 lightning strikes in this view in just the past 15 minutes. Thank you, Amanda. Welcome. Appreciate you being new to the channel. Again, you guys interacting, you guys liking and subscribing. Let people like Amanda see this channel who don't even know we exist. That it gets recommended on people's YouTube homepages. They don't even know we're here. We are a live only channel. I'm only on when there's impactful weather across Central Florida. We've got our live camera network. We've got the live radar to track these storms for you guys, and you guys are a big part of this. The interaction, letting me know what's happening in your area. I do appreciate all of that. So again, to take this home, Amanda saying, just saw your channel recommended to me on my main page. Thank you for your hard work, Rusty. I appreciate that as well. Again, keep the comments coming. Let me know what's happening in your areas for sure. All right. So the smaller severe thunderstorm warning has gone away. We still have our special weather statements. I just took them off the screen real quick so we could focus in on that severe thunderstorm warning. But it's an expansive special weather statement which extends all the way into the 192 area of Osceola County. Again, movement with these storms are going to continue to be off towards the east. It doesn't mean there's not going to be some additional activity back off west. It's just going to be more isolated in nature, more concentrated in nature. You can see the storms over the Bartow, Lake Wales area. We've had a decent storm that's beginning to fade a bit over Tampa, East Lake, South Tampa. That's good news there, right? Drive home on I-4, 275. Let's get it out without a hitch. This thunderstorm has been sitting over Dade City for a time. But again, it's by itself. Pulse storm comes up, produces heavy rain and lightning for 15 to 30 minutes, going to die back down. A few spotty showers near Wildwood and the Villages. We've had a healthy storm over the Gainesville area. And earlier today, we had some stronger storms northern Flagler County. One severe thunderstorm warning there. Winds that you guys see will be on your screen displayed. 30-mile-an-hour winds at MCO, 25 at the Executive Airport. Get a lot of reporting stations in Brevard County with the Cape, so we could pick up several different sensors reporting some thunderstorm wind gusts as this moves through. This storm does have a little bit of rotation with it right now. So taking a look at that, got to continue to watch out for that rotation in Indian River City and Titusville, especially as it comes over the river. So if you guys live in these areas, you are likely seeing lower bases to these clouds, at least a little bit of broad rotation, and just the old SLCs, the old scary looking clouds. The Conway cam on the bottom of your screen is a very common sight right now east of Metro Orlando with those lower bases. Hey Jaguar, appreciate you saying that. Thank you very much. Hey Nancy, severe lightning and heavy rain, internet dropping. Man is in the New Smyrna Beach. Noise on the south side. Just started to sprinkle in Satellite Beach. Yeah, you do, Kevin. You have a few thunderstorms off to your south. Brandon, for the most part, should be safe. Again, a rogue storm out west, not out of the question, but you're not going to get the intensity as areas off to the east, right? You're not going to get the intensity here as areas off to the east. I'm just taking a look at a couple of different products here real quick, guys. Again, while I'm on live with you guys, some interrogation. That is not the reflectivity. And hopefully that reflectivity comes back. All right. While I'm waiting for that, let's bring back up our camera network for you guys. Again, Conway Cam, live for you right now. Clearly showing you the strong to severe thunderstorms off towards the east. That camera has been quite active for today, but if you do live on the east side of Orlando, things are beginning to improve. Our best shot of the severe weather is from our Epic Cam. We call it that because it's looking over the Epic Universe area, the new attraction from Universal, but it's looking south and east. So it's looking east towards those storms, and you can just clearly see the low bases to those storms as it continues to progress very slowly, and I mean very slowly, off towards the east at this point in time. Okay. Look at the lightning count with this, guys. 860 lightning strikes. So I am picking up some hail. Movement. You can clearly see that any of this hail is well embedded within the high precipitation of the storm. So maybe some inch-sized hail out of this. Remember, the threat from the Weather Service has gone up to an inch, okay? And I'm telling you right now, when the Weather Service issues a severe thunderstorm warning and they start off with 0.88, which is nickel-sized hail, and then they update the warning to inch-sized hail, any update like that, it's likely because there's ground truth verification. We'll take a look at the local storm reports coming up in a second, but likely the Weather Service has had reports of inch-sized hail within this. That's quarter-sized hail, okay? That is damaging hail. So keep that in mind for these areas. It's the Bithlo area, east towards Christmas, areas like that. Wedgefield on the northeast side. Going to try and get into kind of more rural areas of far southwestern Volusia County. Let's hope it doesn't make a run back towards Titusville and Mims. And again, this core, where we have some inch-sized hail likely, is right over 50 at the hour. Additional potential hail core here up in the MIMS area. A little bit smaller, but half-inch size here in MIMS. Even a little shower over Winter Park and Goldenrod. Just going to do a couple things here while we're chatting. See, Ed, Winter Garden is not necessarily clear. I don't think we're going to get the strongest storms that they're going to get off towards the east, but a redeveloping isolated storm is absolutely not out of the question overall for the western sides of Orange County. I mean, you can clearly see from a Winter Garden camera, there's still some gnarly looking cells out there overall. One thing I do want to bring up, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier, is that Orlando south and east is under a threat for the opportunity for some flooding for today. That's the excessive rainfall outlook from the National Weather Service. So keep an eye out for that. Again, potentially 1 to 3 inches in a very short amount of time, and the opportunity to get potentially 2 to 4 or higher in a couple of areas. We're technically not under a marginal risk for severe storms, but obviously our sea breeze today has gotten quite active for us here. Looking at the local storm reports real quick, nothing as of yet. Sometimes those reports are delayed, but I'm telling you again, for them to go from a nickel to 1 inch, not much of a size difference. They have likely had some kind of ground truth information of this. Now this storm is back building slightly north and west. So they've actually put a new severe thunderstorm warning on this, and it is going to get back into northeast sides of Orlando and potentially even the eastern sides of Seminole County as well. So new severe thunderstorm warning with this one. Let me give the details on this. 4 different counties are included in this warning. Kind of slivers of 4 different counties. You've got southeast Seminole, northwest Brevard, east central Orange, southeast Volusia until 6:15. Thunderstorm nearly stationary over Bithlo. 60s and 3/4 inch size hail compared to 60s and inch size hail, but still fairly large hail up to penny size, maybe even nickel. We already mentioned the areas that could be impacted. Now, I do not see at this point in time, I do not see rotation with this storm. That's good news. So excessive cloud to ground lightning occurring. Again, lightning can strike more than 10 miles away. Look, when thunder roars, you head indoors, guys. It's as simple as that. So again, new severe thunderstorm warning here, but it comes up a little bit more to the north and to the west. Tracking from where this cell is, no areas of interest from there, but I'm going to do a storm track myself real quick. North at 5. Whew, well, not a lot of folks are going to be impacted by that in a 5-mile-per-hour range, but we'll give it a shot. I'm going to go from this area to the west side. So based on that timing, Avito 607. So based on that timing, Avito at 607 with this new severe thunderstorm warning. Again, we can track it right on to the street level. South and east of Avito, likely at about 14 minutes. Getting to the heart of Avito at about 6:05. Again, to the very second, we can track this activity for you guys. No, Kyle, straight line winds are not a tornado. That would just be downburst winds. Damaging downburst winds, outflow from the storms, all in one direction. I worked in Oklahoma for 7 years. Look, tornado capital of the world, but at the same point in time, you also got a lot of storms that produced a heck of a lot of downburst straight line winds that had tremendous impacts. Over 4th of July, Norman, Oklahoma had 90+ mile-an-hour winds from downburst. So they're not out of the question. We don't have them as much here because we have a little bit more precipitation with the storms and the air is not as dry at the lower levels as it is out in the plains, but we can still get some tremendous downburst winds that do cause some damage as well. Thunder in Lake Placid, thank you very much. Again, appreciate you guys letting me know. Hello, Tempest. Starting to storm in Mulberry right now. Okay, thank you very much for that information. Again, appreciate everyone tuning in. You know, Ed was talking about Winter Garden. You can clearly see a few storms developing south and west of there. It's mainly in the southern sides of Lake County, but additional storms are trying to develop at the hour there. And then we're looking at your severe storms from this Conway cam. It is a few miles east of Conway right now. 417 is wet, but not as stormy as areas off towards the east. Again, my friends, I appreciate everyone tuning in. I hope you're having a great Monday afternoon. I believe this is the third day in a row I'm on. We've had very active weather across Central Florida for our holiday weekend and into the beginning of the next work week. I hope things are well. Good to see you. Thanks for taking a quick second, hitting that like button for me. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Have those notifications on. Again, it's a live-only channel. I'm not going to inundate you with updates every day. It's not a forecast channel. When I'm on, there's impactful weather. Please remember that we are sponsored by the Lane Law Firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. They offer free consultation and policy reviews, and they'll walk you through the insurance claim process. You can check them out. Go to leanonmelaw.com. Maybe if you become a client, they'll give you a tumbler like this. He's got a lot of swag, Bobby Lean does, and appreciate him being a sponsor. If you want to be a sponsor of the channel, you want to support the channel and maybe become a channel sponsor or a sponsor of one of our cameras, you can scan that QR code on the top left-hand side of your screen. Send us an email. Let's talk. Appreciate all the support. Appreciate all of our members. Memberships are open. You get access to exclusive member short videos. In between some of these live streams, I will produce some member-only videos to give you guys kind of my thoughts behind the scenes, what I expect, the heads up, and when I next might be on. So if you want to support the channel in that way, become a member. Super chat, super thanks are open. Again, one more quick thanks to Creator Warp for the $10 super chat there. I'm going to give you my heart as well now that I have a second to do so. Okay, if you're just tuning in, we've got some gnarly storms just east of downtown Orlando. Two separate severe thunderstorm warnings. This storm has pulsed up in intensity a bit. The interesting thing is right now, because the west storms that were marching from west to east have collided with the East Coast sea breeze, we've really put a parking brake on the movement of any of this storm activity. These storms, before they slammed into the East Coast sea breeze, were trying to get over the Indian River into the Cape Canaveral area and then offshore. It's tremendous amounts of lightning and thunderstorm activity for Indian River City and Titusville and Mims, and it's not moving anywhere right now. As a matter of fact, the newest severe thunderstorm warning has put that polygon slightly to the west of north. So a slight little back build, but more than anything, these cells just aren't moving. So I got to tell you something. Right now from Mims, Titusville, Indian River City, back to Wedgefield, Avalon Park, UCF, Chuliota, these are all areas subject to intense downpours and some flood issues. Flood threat will be there with the slow, erratic movement of the storms today. Again, some of these storms are producing more than 5-inch per hour rainfall rates. And if a storm sits over an area for an hour and it is producing 5-inch per hour rainfall rates, you got yourself 5 inches of rain, my friends, and you got yourself some flooding of low-lying areas, ponding on roadways, maybe even some water over roadways as well. So the flood threat is another situation. I mentioned this earlier. The deeper into coverage that we go, late afternoon, early evening, this evolves into not only a severe weather threat, but a flood threat as well. We're going to see our special weather statements expire. Those are done. Now, what has happened is that this part of it has really taken over. So the rain is a bit lighter right now and has faded a bit in the northeast side of Osceola County. Still some scattered light to moderate rain from MCO to Kissimmee. There's the thunderstorms in southern Lake County that have pulsed up just a little bit, but the juice in the atmosphere is just not as prevalent out to the west as it is with our strong thunderstorms east. And again, the Conway cam showing you that severe thunderstorm in real time. So we'll have some rain and lightning with this. And there could still be some pockets of pretty intense weather. Right now, again, rural sides of southern Lake County. The shower and storm over Tampa has diminished a bit. Another line of storms has redeveloped from Mulberry to Bartow, Lake Wales, Crooked Lake Park up towards Winter Haven. So southern sides of Polk County getting fairly wet and stormy, and that kind of line is intensifying a bit. So we'll have to monitor that. Spotty, lighter showers north and west, but very isolated. But again, the main game in town, southern Volusia, Northern Brevard, Eastern Orange, and Seminole counties. Two separate right now severe thunderstorm warnings. You got it, Charles. Good afternoon to you as well, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Port St. John is going to be real close. Look, you might miss this initial activity, but just like yesterday, eventually all of this has to go east. Okay, so it's slowed up right now once the sea breezes butt heads, but eventually the western winds, which are stronger today and have pushed the storms from west to east all day long, they'll take over and they'll push that activity to the east. So it's not out of the question that later today Port St. John gets smacked with a few storms, but for right now you're doing okay. Okay, back over to the chat. As we bring up this camera, again, flooding reported the west side of Titusville, so I appreciate that. Again, thunder in Lake Placid. Larry wants the sea breezes in Tampa, but unfortunately, again, with the prevailing winds out of the west, you're not going to get that anytime soon, unfortunately, here. Okay, so again, live look from our Conway cam. Want to stay on this shot for a second because it's going to get, look at that plane, by the way. That is likely headed to MCO. They are brushing that storm and probably trying to get in as quick as they possibly can. That's what I would assume, is that they are quite literally trying to get in and make sure that they are not having to deal with any more issues than what they already are. Got a little drizzle in Brandon. Appreciate that. Mike says it's getting nasty in Bithlo. Is it going to get worse? Certainly the opportunity, my friend. This storm is trying to, again, lift north into your area. So it's not fully out of the question that we're going to get a little bit of that activity to get back into the Bithlo area. Okay, so you've seen our shots from Conway. A lot of lightning being produced out of all of this activity right now. This thunderstorm is marching north and west. Weather is quite active in Bithlo. You're on the kind of southwest edge of this. Chuliota, building north and west. It's going to try and get back to the Oviedo area. Again, this severe thunderstorm warning goes all the way until 6:15. They've issued another special weather statement just off towards the east. It looks like some of this activity is trying to finally get back over the rivers and move offshore, but tremendous amount. Now, here's an interesting little nugget. Do you guys see that little curly Q? As I've mentioned a bazillion times, as these storms come over the river, they like to try and produce a little bit of spin. Trying to get a live sweep right now. The velocity product's going to come on in just 1 second. We've got a brand new sweep coming up. Hopefully it'll come on here. But if you guys see that little notch right here, it's a pretty classic rotation. I mentioned as it gets over much less friction of the Indian River over 405, you can start to see a little bit of a spin up there. That little notch coming out. Just looking at a couple different products here, guys. Trying to get that velocity to come back on. There we go. So let's try and marry this up. Here's where we have certainly some spin. We can see a little bit of that right there. So let's query this. It's very weak, but you can see how the radar and the velocity line up together, right? This area of spin clearly over the river right now. But as I'm on live with you guys, that's what I'm doing, right? We're interrogating the radar together. We're talking this out. You guys will let me know what's happening in your area. We've got our live cameras for you guys. It all comes together to hopefully provide you guys with the information you need to stay safe. That's why we're doing this. Appreciate the kind words, Charles. Hope you're doing well. So there it is. Look, it's a gnarly storm. Now it is going into, right, government territory and portions of the Cape. Again, we have street level mapping here. I mean, if these were actually going over the actual launch complexes, we could track those. But we'll monitor that situation. You can clearly see for our friend in Port St. John, that's beginning to enclose you. Look, just because the Weather Service has put a little bit of storm motion north and west, it doesn't mean that these storms also aren't expanding in nature as well, all right? Again, eventually they're going to get to the east anyway. It's just more than likely, or the question is, how much farther north and west do they build before they begin that easterly push again? It's getting worse in Chuliota. It's getting worse in Oviedo. It's getting worse at UCF and University Park. Biflo's in it as well. Wedgefield's included. Additional light rain, and look, even some thunderstorm activity back towards MCO. They're not out of the clear at the airport. They've had about 30 lightning strikes there in the past 15 minutes. And again, our live camera network showing you guys what's going on. Appreciate that, Timmy. Thank you. Hey guys, let me know in the comments section below what you're seeing. You got a question? Feel free to ask it. I appreciate that as well. Again, we have a lot of ability to do a lot of different things on the channel. We've got a lot of cameras. You can switch things around. I'm going to bring up the Conway cam in a bigger view right now because I think it's just a neater shot, but we have our cameras down in Lake Buena Vista and Winter Garden. And of course, I'll join you on the top left-hand side of your screen. I'll zoom in pretty tightly on these storms, but Conway cam is a neat shot. It's showing you the most intense cell right now. This is looking east across Lake George from the southeast side of downtown Orlando, and you can clearly see that storm. It's basically paralleling the camera, right? It's basically moving due north right now, so it's not getting any closer to the camera, but it's not getting any farther away. So this has been a fantastic view to have for the afternoon hours for us here. Again, as these storms continue to fire up. If you're just tuning in, we do have multiple severe thunderstorm warnings that are currently in effect for the Metro Orlando area just off towards the east, including portions of Brevard County and Seminole County as well. The newest severe thunderstorm warning will last until 6:15. The other one is going to be expiring in about 5 minutes. The threat with these, though, have come up a bit. Earlier, we had some special weather statements where we could have some winds of 50 and some quarter-inch size hail. Now within this thunderstorm, severe thunderstorm warning, the first one, we have potentially inch size hail. That's true quarter-inch size hail. I mean, quarter size, that's damaging hail, right? That is going to be a problem. Even 3/4 inch size hail, which is penny. In between is the nickel. And so basically the coin size hail for today, penny to nickel, maybe even quarters. Not a great scenario here. And as a matter of fact, just east of Chuliota, I'm now picking up 1/2 inch size hail, 70% chance. Again, there is a bit of north movement to this. Is it slightly west of north? Potentially. Is everything eventually building off to the east? Yes, that will be the trend the remainder of the afternoon hours that we go. And this could linger into the early evening. Hopefully we push this away before sunset tonight. Late yesterday, southern Brevard County, not all the storms cleared the coast, and we actually had a little bit of a flood threat in some of those areas. And again, there is an excessive rainfall risk for today, and they've expanded it north. I was wondering if they were going to. The first iteration of this was basically Orlando south and east, but it didn't include all the heavy rain in eastern Orange County and into southern Volusia. Well, they've now expanded that risk. So if you live in the green, and even more than likely east of Orlando for the most part here, because of the evolution of the storms in the last 2 hours, you are under an excessive rainfall risk. All that means is that this area has the best opportunity, if you will, to see some flooding rains. Part of this is that the rainfall rates per hour are pushing 5+ inches of rain an hour, and the storm movement is very slow right now. So pockets of flooding rains could be produced out of some of these cells as we move through the remainder of, again, the late afternoon and into the early evening hours here. Getting up to 6 o'clock, suppose we could almost just start talking about this being the evening. I'm going to bring the Conway cam up live for you guys right now, full screen. Once again, in this area, not much wind, okay? A little bit of light rain still falling around Conway, but we're looking into that severe thunderstorm. Now, this area has seen the merger of the East Coast sea breeze with the storms that have pushed off towards the west. So at this point in time right now, again, these storms are moving very, very slowly. So we have to watch out for some of that flood threat. And that's the next thing I want to touch on right now, is how that could evolve over the next hour or two. So I'm going to bring this up full screen for you guys. What you're looking at now is a product where I can take a look at the watches, warnings, advisories in a county by county basis. So anywhere that you see the oranges, that's the severe thunderstorm warnings. But we do have a flood advisory that I want to bring up here and just mention. There is a flood advisory now for portions of Orange and Osceola counties. It's going to expire soon, but I wanted to pass this along because we're likely to have additional flood advisories. Now, a flash flood warning means that flooding is occurring right now, okay? A flood advisory means flooding is possible or it's imminent. It doesn't necessarily mean it's occurring right now, but with additional rainfall in these areas, we could get areas of flooding. So you can see from the details, 2 to 3 inches of rain have already fallen with an additional 1 to 2. So now you're looking at sum totals of northern Osceola and eastern Orange County picking up 3 to 5 inches of rain. Orlando, Kissimmee, Bay Lake, Buenaventura Lakes, Intercession City, West Lake Toho, Celebration. Oh, this is a lot of people. East Lake Toho, OIA, Four Corners. I'll get through them all. Belle Isle, Hunters Creek, Campbell, Osceola Heritage Park, Yeehall Junction, SeaWorld, Austin Tyndall Park. That's a new one. Pine Castle, Champions Gate, and Lake Buena Vista, all included. Now, again, it's going to go away in a minute. But could there be additional flood advisories for these areas? I think it's absolutely possible. I'll be monitoring this product. We'll go back from time to time and take a look at it. We'll look at this local storm reports as well. So we have had some wind reports in Titusville, Port St. John. So here we go. Again, a lot of sensors here. I even have access to buoy data if you don't know that. So what do we got? A marine thunderstorm. Space Force, United States Space Force wind sensor on Tower 100. Told you there's a lot of sensors here. Peak wind gust of 41 miles an hour. Then up in Titusville, again, weather flow station at Parish Park North had a 36 mile an hour wind gust. So there you go. A few wind gust reports there. Have not had a hail report yet. Thought we might get one for an inch because the Weather Service upped that one severe thunderstorm to an inch size hail, but we haven't, at least as of now. Hey, XRP Pullman, how you doing, man? Yeah, if you haven't done so, please follow our moderators, hit that like button, and subscribe to the channel as well. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Thanks for joining me on this Monday. I believe it's the third day in a row, but it's also the third day in a row we've had some active weather here in Central Florida. Again, severe thunderstorm warning is in effect just east of Metro Orlando. It is slightly building west, trying to get over towards Chuliota and Oviedo. This severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for the next 14 minutes. Now, bracketed within this, we have a new special weather statement. So if I take off the severe thunderstorm warning, you'll see a new special weather statement is in effect all the way now until 6:45. Again, north movement at 7, max winds of 50, Titusville, Oviedo, Winter Springs, Castleberry, Longwood, all included within that. Special marine warning for portions of the coastal Brevard County area to go along with another special weather statement there. That special weather statement has the storms moving east. So again, the eastern flank of these storms are finally building off to the east just a little bit, moving east at 10, quarter-inch size hail, so pea-sized hail, 50-mile-an-hour winds impacting Titusville, Haulover Canal, Mims, the Titusville Airport, and Playa Linda Beach. Some of these same areas I have mentioned for the third day in a row. Additional stronger storms have developed in southern sides of Lake County. Again, I can't rule out even a little bit of hail here. You know, my radar algorithm is picking up some hail embedded within that storm between 33 and 27. So again, fairly rural areas of southern Lake County, but I've driven both of those highways, especially now. More and more communities are being built south on 27, trying to connect up to the Four Corners 192 area. So this is more populated than you think. Even 33 has some communities down this far south. And there's a lot of lightning associated with that. If I just zoom into this spot, guys, look, you think this is not a strong storm. We had nearly 350 lightning strikes out of this in the past 15 minutes. So there is a bit of, you know, redevelopment out west. Another nice cluster of storms, Polk County. You live in Mulberry or Bartow or Lake Wales or Winter Haven, you're seeing that. Storm raining itself out in Dade City. A few little showers trying to come in. Here's one trying to sneak into Port Richey and Newport Richey. Again, it's nothing more than a passing shower right now. It's not going to intensify like the storms out to the east, but it'll be good to get a few of those showers. I mentioned places like Ocala and the villages earlier. Here's a few more showers developing in these spots. Again, it's really light and spotty in nature, but not out of the question we get a little bit of rain there too. Is Eustis finally done? For the most part, yes. Is it a slam dunk 100%? You're not going to get any rain for the rest of the day? No. There still is that possibility. Certainly still that possibility. Can't rule it out. All right, gang, I'm going to take a real quick break. I'll be back in just 1 second. You got your Conway cam, the radar here, Lake Buena Vista and Winter Garden. Again, I'm going to take one quick break. I'll be back in just 1 second. Stay tuned. Okay, I'm back. You got to work on that playlist too. Been working behind the scenes on a lot of different things. That's a new graphic coming your way, by the way. We're going to have seven inputs for you guys. This baby making weather. Not for me any longer, my friend. I got 2, 13 and 11. We're done. That's enough. All right, let's get the playlist off. All righty. I am back. Good to see everyone. Oh, I should. Sorry, there's a little window that's stuck. I'm trying to get rid of here. Here we go. Okay. All right. How's everyone doing? Everyone doing all right? 4:20 break time. 4:20 break time at 6:07. I'm a little late. Curious, how's it looking for Avalon Park going forward? All right, we'll get back into it, guys. Now, the good news is they've allowed the severe thunderstorm warning to expire. The bad news is, as I was taking that quick break, they have issued a flash flood warning. Remember, I've mentioned this as soon as I came on, that as we go deeper into this coverage, as these storms stick over one area longer, you start to see a flood threat begin to pop up. So now we do have a flash flood warning. This is the highest level of danger when it comes to flash flooding. Let me give you the details on this. Places like Titusville, Wedgefield, Christmas, Mims, Bithlow, LaGrange, and Turnbull are all included in this flash flood warning. Here are the details of that bulletin right now. We have a flash flood warning for Northwest Brevard, East Central Orange County until 7:30. Doppler radar indicated a thunderstorm producing heavy rainfall between 3 and 4.5 inches of rain have already fallen. We know that because we looked at these areas. We saw the 5 and 6 inch rainfall rates per hour with an additional 1.5 to 3.5. Darn, I mean, we're talking about 8 inches of rain at a maximum in some of these areas. Flash flooding is ongoing or expected to begin shortly. That is the caveat, my friends, for a flash flood warning. Flooding is imminent or is already occurring, and not just in a localized fashion. It could be fairly widespread in these areas. Moving on. Flash flooding in small creeks and streams, urban areas, highways, streets, and underpasses, as well as other poor drainage in low-lying areas. The areas that I've already mentioned. And again, I know it's cheesy, but it really makes sense. Turn around, don't drown. You know, when lightning roars, you head indoors, and when you have flash flooding, you turn around, you don't drown. It takes 6 inches of fast-moving water to push a car off a roadway. I know it seems like it's not a lot, but promise you that's what happens. So this storm situation right now is that the intensity has come down slightly. Still could be producing winds of 50 miles an hour, but now we have an area of flooding, and that's a big concern. I can also take a look real quick, and we can see what the radar estimated rainfall totals have been at. Now, I want to be clear about something. When we're talking about an ongoing process like this, it takes a little bit of time to catch up with everything that's fallen. So we're likely to see slightly underreported numbers, okay? Now let me just make sure I've got this right. Precip amounts, this is your 6-hour precip totals. So this will cover the entire event. This is not precip rates. This is radar estimated how much rain has fallen in these areas, okay? And I got to tell you something, my radar estimate is right in line with what the Weather Service had. I think they had 4.5 as a maximum. Well, I've got that right up US 1. And again, it's this pocket here, not as much rain in Bithlow or Wedgefield overall. Southeast Titusville has not had as much rain as Northwest Titusville. Indian River City, not as much. But that's a tremendous amount of rain that has fallen in this area. And I mean, look, can it spell out even better? Take a look at my radar system and where we have the blacks and the blues. Literally, the National Weather Service has outlined that area in a polygon. They're seeing the same information that we're seeing right now. And so they have seen these 3 and 4 to maybe 5 inch rainfall totals develop in these areas, and they've literally outlined that box, guys. So there you go. Guys, we got another super chat. This is going to be from Peb Metz. $10. Thank you for the updates here in Titusville. The storm is starting to let up a bit where I am, but still heavy. Friends, please, let's get the hearts out in chat for Peb Mets. Again, that is a tremendous support to the channel, and I do appreciate that, Peb Mets. Thank you very much. I'll continue to monitor the situation in Titusville. As I've just shown you again, 1.7 on the southeast side, well over 3 inches on the northwest side. Hopefully we get some forward movement. The problem is, I'm telling you right now, the problem is the heaviest rain is going to have to get pushed off to the east. What we want is for this to begin to break up as it does so, but I still am concerned about Titusville and Indian River City and Mims to get additional heavier rain. In the spots that have already had 3 to 4 inches, that's why they issued the flash flood warning in these spots. But again, PebMets, thank you very much for that support. It's a manatee. It does look like a manatee. Absolutely. All right. Thank you, my friend. All right. So that's the radar estimated amount of rain, which clearly lines up to where we have our flash flood warning. Again, it's a dangerous situation right now to have to monitor for you guys. So if you live in these areas, take it very, very seriously. Go back over to the radar. Now what I want to see is the reds and the oranges begin to fade from this area, okay? It looks like it's done it a bit, all right? Potentially now pushing even the stronger storms off towards the east. Again, you have a special weather statement, special marine warning there, even towards the north side of the Cape. But the longer that this sits over the same spot, the worse that we could have the flooding ongoing. Again, not expecting severe weather up towards our friends in Oviedo, but expecting a stronger storm to continue to march that way, basically trying to get as close as Aloma and 434 towards the 417, maybe up towards Lake Jessup now as well. So if you live in this area, Oviedo back down towards UCF and Dean Road, maybe as far south as Waterford Lakes, there's still going to be some pockets of rain and storms. Look, even in the last hour, the executive airport in downtown Orlando has shown a 31-mile-an-hour wind gust, MCO 30. You can see from our cameras here, there is still some thunderstorm activity in our southern zones. And again, this storm here has done nothing but get stronger over southern Lake County. Now we're up to 450 lightning strikes. That's a solid storm. 33 to 27. Hamlin, Lake Buena Vista, we'll have to monitor the situation in those areas with additional pockets of some heavier rain there. Let's go back over to our cameras real quick. The breeze has picked back up. This is one thing I wanted to show you guys from Conway, right? We were looking at that camera and you can clearly see, we had 30-mile-an-hour winds basically from MCO up to the executive airport. Well, Conway smack dab in the middle of those two. So there you go. Certainly some scattered showers there. And you can see, look at the Conway cam, friends. Look at the winds. They're moving from right to left from your screen. The camera is looking off towards the east. Guess what? That's a brisk south wind that is developing in that area right now. Live look to Epic. Again, dark skies in that area. If we look at Sand Lake, from the southwest side, you can see the Sand Lake camera. And again, doom and gloom over this area with the redeveloping showers and storms. And we can catch the northern extent of what's happening there in Lake County from Winter Garden. So really ominous sky here. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean the storm's going to build as far north as Winter Garden, but it's also, not out of the question that we see some of this activity try and lift back up towards the north. Friends, another super chat. This is from Romans. He says, any chance of the rain reaching the Gulf Coast by Sarasota soon? Unfortunately, Romans, the overall answer is going to be no. And there's a couple of reasons why. The first reason is that the prevailing winds are still going to be out of the west. So the dominant sea breeze is the west coast sea breeze that pushes from west to east, okay? So you catch some scattered showers along the west coast, but we're still dragging most of the rain as it develops later in the day with the heat energy of the late afternoon, I-4 and east. that overall pattern is unlikely to change. Now, again, I can't rule out a few scattered showers and storms getting in your area, but this kind of coverage and intensity, I don't see that for the Bradenton, Sarasota area the next couple days. Here's the other thing, my friends, too. We'll have some storms around tomorrow, but beginning on Wednesday and especially late in the week, rain chances plummet because we're likely to start to see some Saharan dust get back into our atmosphere, undercutting the rain chance and the sea breeze interaction. And, so it's something that I'll be monitoring. If you're a member of the channel, I'll throw out a video or two on that. But I would expect us to see rain chances overall beginning to drop back down. So Roman, thank you very much for your super chat. Let's get the hearts out for Roman doing that as well. Hoffman Celebration area, starting to see those storms roll up again. Still thundering in Hunter's Creek from Water Lily. Appreciate you, Water Lily. Hope you're doing well. So they have turned the storm over the Cape, northern side of Brevard County, into a severe thunderstorm warning. We are literally layering right now. This is why you can't read it. We're layering a flash flood warning with a special weather statement with a marine warning over a severe thunderstorm warning. If that's not active, I don't know what to tell you guys. So I'm going to drop off the special weather statement. I'm going to drop off the marine warning just so we can see this darn new severe thunderstorm warning. Now it goes for 45 minutes, it goes for 42. So what is it, trying to do my math here. I guess it just goes until 7. Yeah. So 7 o'clock, east at 7, less than 3/4 inch size hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. Playa Linda Beach, Haulover Canal, northern sides of Merritt Island, Wildlife Refuge. I was going to say it's kind of up there north, and Klondike Beach. Now, look, this storm should not stay over Brevard County through 7 o'clock. The bulk of this should be offshore. Even when I track this, if there's any population centers within this, it's going to show up. You can see the street level mapping. I believe that's Highway 3 up here as well. There's not a ton of population here. Now, interesting because you get to the far southern launch complexes. So you can see those launch complexes there at the Cape on my street level mapping. But this thunderstorm, it's intense, but it's also going offshore and getting into somewhat more unpopulated areas. Now, it's also good to see that they've allowed the special weather statement. No, they haven't. What am I talking about? I just took them off. I was wondering, I was like, did they really let those drop so fast? This is why I hold my tongue every so often. So here are the special weather statements. Now, I'll say this, looking at the trend of this storm, it's not going to shock me if, one, they expire the special weather statement a little bit sooner than 26 minutes, or two, if they don't, they'll allow it to expire. What I'm not surprised about and why I kept coming back to this storm is that they just issued a special weather statement for this storm. And this is Southern Lake County back into Orange County. Again, the lightning count with this is tremendous. You can see the live camera in Winter Garden. We can also take a look at our Lake Buena Vista camera. But let me give you the details on this one, because this is another one that's going to take us to 7 o'clock. So a special weather statement for this storm. Barely moving, east at 3. Southern Winter Garden. If you guys know Winter Garden, it's basically a north to south city, right? You get bracketed by Oakland and Claremont to the west and Ocoee to the east. So, up towards Plant Street and Southern Lake Apopka, probably not as impacted as the far southern sides of Winter Garden. So when it says Winter Garden, it's like the Hamlin area, if you will, towards Groveland, Mascot, Windermere, and Bay Lake. You can see that even here south of Hamlin, potentially some hail out of this. So the Winter Garden camera is a little bit farther north than this cell, but it's also south of the turnpike. So it's kind of right on the north edge. Just checking the chat. So let's track this. Again, at 3 miles an hour, guys, whew, it ain't doing much. Couple of things I can do. North and east, right? East at 3. Kind of north and east, really, though. It's built up closer to Groveland. Couple of areas I want to track with you guys here. All right? Here. What's it going to take to get to Groveland and Claremont? 5 miles an hour. That's fine. I think this storm could be going 5 miles an hour. You can clearly see the lightning developing in Winter Garden right now. Look, I know the Weather Service said it's going east. I agree with that, but this storm is also building north. When these sea breeze storms develop like this, they can be moving east and expanding a different direction, right? This is not a cold front coming in with one line of storms that we can track in a very easy fashion. These storms are just blowing up and producing some gnarly weather in an expansive view. So as this storm looks, in my opinion, to be building north on 27 and 33 as we've been watching this, especially over 33, we're looking at Groveland and we're looking at Claremont. Now again, even at 5-mile-an-hour speed, you're not going to get to Groveland until 6:56. You're not going to get to Claremont until 7:07 downtown, southern sides of Claremont at 7:03. If you live in these areas, look up or look down to your south, you'll see that storm. And even the last radar sweep shows you a north push of the leading edge of that higher precip. So I don't think I'm out of my mind talking about Groveland and Claremont getting run over by this cell. It is in the special weather statement. Let me be clear about that too. The Weather Service did put the special weather statement that far to the north and west. Another pocket of heavy storm activity is likely to be back down in this area. So let's track that. Hamlin, Lake Butler. Again, not a lot of movement is necessary as far as forward speed. So the areas that can be impacted by this, Hamlin right now, again, new Independence Parkway off of the 429. I'll slide it over a little bit more. Exit 15. Lake Butler, 628. Windermere at 652. Towards Bay Hill as well. Kind of, I think Bay Hill's just south and east of here, but still technically Bay Hill is included in the special weather statement. So that's a nasty storm that has redeveloped in southern Lake County and is going to be impacting portions of populated Lake County and into the western sides of Orange County. Again, our camera here in Winter Garden will show you that story. This is the worst it's been. Again, this camera is on the far north edge of where the worst weather is right now. But as we go over the next half hour, we're likely to see this camera get run over by this storm. And it'll certainly get darker on the left-hand side of your screen. Again, looking west from this camera, which is why you see the sunlight in the background. Another beautiful sunset for our western areas, but everyone else likely to be dealing with some strong storms. Hey Ashley, how you doing? It's been bad in Bartow for the last hour, stuck in my car outside of Publix. Well, first of all, Ashley, thank you for tuning in, whether it's in your car in Publix or in your home or whatever. I appreciate you taking a quick second and jumping into the channel. Thank you very much for letting me know what's going on in your area. And that is the really neat thing about doing this, right? You can take me on the go. When you get an alert, maybe you're driving but not watching while you're driving, but maybe you're somewhere that's not your home, and you can absolutely tune in and see what's happening in your area just like Ashley is right now. So appreciate that. Again, it's kind of a, lets us know that we're doing something there and we're doing something right. If we look at that storm, my radar has gotten kind of funky here. Looks like it appears the Melbourne radar has fritzed just a bit. I'm going to fire it back up one more time. There must be some activity right by it. Let me do this. Jump over to the Tampa radar real quick. Boy, oh boy, what is happening? So you said Bartow. I guess it is. Yeah, I guess this is right. For some reason, I thought we were going to pick up more activity Sebring to Lake Placid. But here you go. There's the Bartow storm. Maybe even a little bit of hail for you there too. Small hail, pea-sized hail, but a good thunderstorm over Bartow on over towards Cypress Gardens, Legoland, Winter Park area, Dundee, and Haines City. All right. Thought for a second there was a little bit of something wrong because that radar presentation just completely changed from the last time I looked at it full. Sometimes busy looking at all these different things, have to take a quick second, reorientate myself. Continuing with the severe thunderstorm warning and everything else here. Again, there's a marine warning. There's a special weather statement on top of all of this. The bottom line is, again, this storm in northern Brevard County is going to move offshore before 7 o'clock. So we're likely to see the special weather statements and the severe thunderstorm warning expire a little bit earlier than that. Flash flood warning continues in these areas. If you live in Titusville, Wedgefield, Christmas, Mims, Bithlo, LaGrange, and Turnbull, this is a serious situation. We've had 4 to 5 inches of rain that have already fallen in this area. An additional 2 to 3 is possible. Maybe some areas between 6 and 8 inches of rain for today. So flooding of urban areas, of streets, of low-lying areas are occurring as we speak. So please, again, make sure that you turn around, you don't drown, meaning that if there is water over the roadway, do not try and cross it. Take it very easy on the roads as well. Hydroplaning can always be an issue in these spots. Flash flood warning will go in effect through 7:30. Hopefully this trend continues. I mentioned it about 15 minutes ago. Let's get the reds and the oranges out of this area. That's the heaviest, most significant rain. Hopefully this pushes off to the east. This cell moves north and west, and it dies out a little bit as it does so. It's holding together, at least producing some good rain up towards Winter Springs, Lake Mary, and the Sanford areas. So up 417 in Lake Jessup towards 1792, and then on over towards 46 at the airport there. Throw on the wind gusts, just make sure we have those on. 32 mile an hour. So it's very interesting. Between these cells, we basically had a 30 mile an hour wind gust, the entire time. And again, rain is beginning to move back into portions of Metro Orlando. You can see from our Conway cam, it's wet again. Not the most prolific rain, but it's wet. You got to actually, just take it easy when you decide to leave, but smart not to get out in the heavy stuff. That's what I like to hear. Tippa says, just finished for us here in Mulberry. Appreciate that. Hey, Therese, how you doing? Thunder now, rain earlier, looks like more to come. Oh, man. Mrs. Bucket Mouth Adventures. First of all, fantastic name. My poor dog's 3 days of loud fireworks and then thunder. Husky mix hiding in the closet. Winter Haven near Bartow. So we had a husky for 16 years. She passed away about 3 years ago, but she was not a big fan of the fireworks either. So I'm with you. And that husky howl can be something when they're not happy. Hey, Zigzag, how you doing, my friend? There was a real light show last night in Palm Bay. Lightning every couple of seconds. So how about that? Starting to look dark in Montverde. Thank you for the coverage. Appreciate the information there. Yeah, Montverde, definitely one of those areas likely to be impacted. Again, you're looking at our live camera out of Conway. Here's the live camera out of Winter Garden. That's the storm right now with the special weather statement in southern Lake County that is drifting to the north and kind of drifting to the east. It's not moving very quickly, but this is a great shot. This is why we have these live cameras for you guys. We have these cameras across a lot of Central Florida, and I promise you we are expanding that camera network. So if you want to be included and maybe a sponsorship of the cameras, make sure you reach out to us. I'll throw that information back on the screen, but that QR code will get you right to our email. If you want to sponsor the channel like the Lean Law Firm is, or you're interested in maybe sponsoring one of the weather cameras as well. Hey, Bill, how you doing? Let's bring in a new member here. Bill says, hello, new to the channel. Glad I found you. You're my go-to guy now for local weather. Highland City, Polk County in the house. Appreciate you, Bill. Thank you for the kind words. Thanks for finding this channel. We are finding that a lot of folks have found this channel recently, and we appreciate, a lot more eyes on us in that regard. If you guys don't know, I was a television meteorologist for 25 years, the last 10 years in Orlando. I am from Florida. I'm from Crystal River in Citrus County, the west coast of Florida. So I'm born and raised here in Florida. Grew up with the hurricanes and with these sea breeze storms just like you guys. Happy to be on this YouTube channel covering these storms. Again, this is a live only channel. I'm only on when there's impactful weather. So it's not a forecast channel. You're not going to get a daily forecast update. You're not going to get anything like that. You can find that in 1,000 different ways. What this channel does is it provides you guys live coverage of impactful storms and tropical storms and hurricanes included in that. Been doing this now for maybe about 18 months, but we completely revamped the channel about 2 months ago, adding a lot of the technology that you guys are seeing, and we're expanding on that. So we have some OGs in the chat who will tell you that things look a lot different than what it did last year. And I appreciate all the support, whether you are our first subscriber or you're the latest one. Thanks for hitting that like button. Thank you for subscribing. Memberships are open. Again, it'll always be free to watch the channel. You guys know that. But you want to support the channel and become a member, you do get access to exclusive badges and emojis during our live stream. Just a little something you can throw into the chat. But you also get access to exclusive member short videos. From time to time, I'll produce short videos for our members in between these live streams, just kind of my heads up what I think is going to be happening when I next might be on. And again, super chat, super things are open as well, just to appreciate everyone tuning in. Excuse me, I take another sip of water. 3 days in a row, 3 to 4 hours a day, even with my background vocally. Now, let me tell you something. This is not nearly as bad as when I worked for 7 years in Oklahoma City. And there were 10 and 11 days in a row, we'd be on for 12 and 14 hours. And that's not a joke. Like, that is a fact. There was a stretch of like 10 or 11 days in a row, we had tornado threats. And you want to talk about exercising the old vocal cords. It was rough. I wasn't the only one, though, but it was still rough. Yeah, obviously behind these storms, guys, things will be cooling down a bit. Now, that winter garden camera is going to be a neat shot to see for the next little bit here, because that's going to be that special weather statement storm that's moving up. You can still see the really gray skies here in the Epic Cam. I'm going to switch that camera right now with our other camera down there in Sand Lake, so you guys can see again the southwest extent. So Sand Lake, southern sides of Metro Orlando. With this particular camera, we're looking south and west. So we're going to pick up another aspect of this storm. So basically right now, Conway is showing you this cell. Winter Garden and Sand Lake are showing you our special weather statement. And we have Lake Buena Vista as well. I mean, Conway has been a beautiful view, but what do you say we take a look at Lake Buena Vista? And again, we have the ability to show all these cameras at once too, and we'll do that from time to time. It's really neat. So here's Lake Buena Vista. Again, attractions area. We always know there's a lot of folks out and about here, and so we have to keep an eye on that. Gray sky, that's the storm coming into this area. Before we get back to the radar, one more look at Winter Garden. If you do live in Western Orange County, it's a gnarly looking sky. Again, low base to the clouds. I don't see any rotation out of this. I don't see any lowerings. So all straight line winds, but a good thunderstorm. At this point, the National Weather Service has not mentioned any hail out of this storm, but a good updraft could produce some pea-sized hail. If you do live in Western Orange County, Windermere area, Hamlin, Winter Garden, let me know in the comments section below if you've had any significant weather. Again, this camera looking to the west, so if you look at the palm tree at the horizon, you can see it's bending from left to right. That's the strong south flow coming in with that thunderstorm. XRP, did I miss a super chat from you, my friend? Yes, I did. I'm not going to miss that. Guys, oh, it's because you did super stickers. I have a chat thing here. I can do that, but thank you so much. So now I know that super stickers don't show up in that way. $9.99 super stickers from XPR Plumbing. Let's get the hearts out in chat for our friend there. Thank you very much. Appreciate the support, my friend. All right, let's reset the scenario here at 6:35. Two different special weather statements, one severe thunderstorm warning, one flash flood warning in effect. For the Metro Orlando area, special weather statement that extends towards Windermere, Lake Butler, back down towards Four Corners, close to Lake Buena Vista and Western Way, up to 429, towards Winter Garden, the 27 area of Lake County, sneaking into Groveland and Claremont. Additional cells are developing north of this, right? Look, this is not the only game in town. Look at these storms trying to refire right now. I got to tell you, I'm a little surprised. Of the widespread nature of this. I'm not surprised at the intensity, because we've had some pulsed heavy thunderstorms behind the main line. But this is really beginning to line up through a lot of Lake County, and it's done so in the snap of a finger. These storms weren't there 10 minutes ago for the most part. So Montverde, Asatula, Yahala, Leesburg, Fruitland Park, fair amount of lightning with this. What do you got? About 75 lightning strikes or so out of this view in the past 15 minutes. So those storms are intensifying. Additional cells trying to get going in eastern sides of Pasco and Hernando counties, following that line back down into northwest Polk. So Polk City towards the Lakeland area. Again, you have a little bit of rain right now, lighter southeast sides of Orange County. I'm extremely happy to see that the heaviest rain has left our flash flood warning areas. We've already had 4 to 5 inches of rain in some of these areas, but hopefully we don't have much more. Let's let this area rain out, and hopefully they don't get any more. That thunderstorm has actually worked its way outside of the special weather statement box. It's not very strong. I have the wind gusts on. Again, we had a 30-mile-an-hour wind earlier today at the Sanford Airport. See if that pops on again. 32, and that was at, if I get my body off the screen, was at 619. So only 18 minutes ago, gust front. Remember we talked about this. Some of your strongest winds sometimes can be out ahead of the actual line of storms. That's that cool flow of air that you feel before the storm hits you. 32-mile-an-hour wind there. It was over 30 at the Executive Airport and 30 in Orlando. Severe thunderstorm warning continues for the far northern and eastern sides of Brevard County, but that storm is about ready to exit the area. It's about ready to get out of Dodge. Again, I wasn't as concerned with this one. Now, again, special marine warning. I hope all boaters are back in a safe port. That's a bad storm to be caught out at this point in time. Still looking pretty good for the rest of Brevard County right now, but certainly more development today behind the initial line. A little bit more juice, I guess. Montverde, Yahala, Leesburg, and the villages. We'll see how those want to cluster up. Do they want to stay out by themselves, or do they want to begin to line up? Certainly, a lot of moisture is being fed into the south side of this storm, and you can see that. And again, tracking this now, it's almost into Claremont. So I think it was good that we decided that this thing was moving more north than anything. I'm going to do a large line. I'm going to bring it north. Take just a second to pop on here. Here we go. Oh, it was a little too quick. Let's try it one more time. It's kind of a straight line here. There we go. 5 is all we need. So Groveland's included in this as well, by the way. Groveland, Claremont, 650. Windermere, basically in a few minutes at 643. Oakland at 706. Mineola 707. Gotha 707. Winter Garden, that would be downtown Winter Garden, Plant Street 725. Ittacoe in at 734. Again, pretty stormy weather right now south of the Turnpike, south of 50 on 27, and on the Western Beltway, which is 429. Cole, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Cole wanting to barbecue tonight. Maybe not the best. Maybe not the best, my friend. Might have to let these storms pass you by a bit. Again, here, if you're just tuning in, the flood threat and the flash flood warning does include Titusville, Wedgefield, Christmas, Mims, Bithlo, LaGrange, and Turnbull. 4 to 5 inches of rain had already fallen in those spots. So that's the big concern there. When I go over to our 6-hour rainfall estimates from the National Weather Service, or excuse me, from the radar, in this area, and I already showed you this once, but if you're just tuning in, literally on my system, this is where we've had the 4, 5, 6 inch estimated rainfall totals, and they outline that in the flash flood warning in that green polygon. I mean, they're seeing the same data I am. You know, they saw this 4, 5, 6 inches of rain, and they hoisted up that flash flood warning. Now, If we can avoid any more serious rain in this area, I think we'll generally be okay. I think whatever flooding is out there has already begun to recede, but what we can't get is additional cells that are out west to move back over these same areas and produce more local heavy downpours here, right? Because this was the spot where the west coast and the east coast sea breeze merged and the storm activity really slowed down for a time. Let's check back in with our winter garden camera. Again, the western side of Orange County looking to the west. As that special weather statement storm continues to move north, we'll catch more and more of that particular cell here on our cam. And again, just a gnarly looking low base to that activity. The rain has spread into Lake Buena Vista. Again, this camera is just 1 mile from the attractions, just 1 mile from the attractions. So the Magic Kingdom is basically right over that stand of trees in the distance. So it's a great camera for the Magic Kingdom, for Disney Springs, for Epcot, Typhoon Lagoon, even the SeaWorld area in Epic we've got covered with our Sand Lake cameras. So we have all the attractions area covered, but it's pouring there right now, and there's some embedded strokes of lightning to go along with it. Speaking of our Sand Lake cam, again, quite dark over that area as that cell continues to move across the region. So just have to monitor the situation there back into Sand Lake. I would expect that storm to be on the stronger side, probably not pulsing up too much, but more rain moving back into that area. And the rain has dissipated a bit over Conway. This has been a very active camera today, especially just east of Conway. That cell, again, and you can still see some lightning. There's a lot of lightning. Right now in Metro Orlando, there's nearly 400 lightning strikes in the last 15 minutes. So our camera is going to be picking up some juice, some energy in the atmosphere, some electricity. But the worst of the cells have stuck just a little bit east of that Conway cam, at least for this time. XRP Plumbing wants to know, how is it looking in Maitland? My pleasure, my friend. Again, always we'll give preferential treatment to our Super Chat and Super Sticker members. All right, so the Maitland area, let's get into it. Look, you're in kind of that no man's land at this point in time. You've got the heavy showers and storms to the east that I don't expect to move much further west. You could catch a little bit of this rain south and east of you, but it's faded a little bit as it's done so, and I just don't think there's much more of a west push likely with that. So more than likely you're going to avoid this. The question mark has to be what's happening off towards your west. Certainly these storms have gotten a lot stronger in the short term, but how much longer do they last? I've mentioned this phrase before called pulse thunderstorms. It's the storms that develop very quickly. They drop a tremendous amount of rain and lightning for 15 to 30 minutes, and then they die back down very quickly. So my question is, can these storms really line up and make a march back towards I-4 and northern sides of Orange County? I got to be honest, I don't have a great feel for it at this point in time. I think we're just going to have to watch the trend. This is more activity back in the Lake County than I expected at the hour. But generally speaking, I would say that at this point in time, if you don't get hit by this, you're going to be fine the rest of the night. The problem is, look, I don't know if you want to be out and about and running around doing things, but there's still a lot of lightning in your area regardless. It's just not a fantastic early evening to be wanting to do anything outdoors here in Metro Orlando. We got to let this stuff dissipate a bit more. Again, the lightning count is over 400 lightning strikes right now, so we have to certainly respect these storms. But again, XRP Plumbing, thank you very much for your super sticker $9.99 donation, and happy to answer that question for you. Cole's only had 0.06 of an inch in Yalhalla. Hope you get a little bit more. I mean, you should be real close with the hit or miss variety there. And again, a little cell has popped up in Tampa, right over the Egypt Lake Lido area, south of Greater Carrollwood near Seminole Heights, just west of 275. So there's that isolated but stronger storm. And that's what I was expecting more than anything. You got a little bit of that in eastern sides of Hernando and Pasco County, Spring Hill, Ridge Manor, down 301 to Dade City. It's developed now as far north as the eastern side of the Villages. But I will tell you this, as someone who travels back and forth around the Villages fairly often, because my parents still live in Citrus County, I don't really know where the line for the Villages is. I think it's like West Orlando now. So it's really hard when I say, like, here's the eastern Villages. I mean, it's like on the turnpike now. So the Villages area, I guess, is the easiest thing to do. Should I just, the Villages? Something like that. Certainly pushing towards the turnpike, but Wildwood, Leesburg, pretty good amount of lightning associated with that, up 27 as well. Montverde, I know, was in the house earlier. That storm lifting north towards Astatula. Again, all of these are decent storms, but they're not severe. So they did let that special weather statement expire. Now, I'll do this because I haven't done it in a little bit. I'll put this into motion over the last 2 hours. But what you're going to see, my friends, when I do this is good luck trying to pick out a real storm motion. The general movement is east, but there's a lot going on this map in the last 2 hours. You had this initial activity slow down with the special weather statement, the severe thunderstorm warning, and the flash flood warning. The heaviest part of that cell has just gotten off the Brevard County line. Flow is obviously coming out of the south, even a little bit still out of the west, and it has sparked up an additional line, some in Polk County, some in Lake County, and it's all beginning to merge. You can clearly see how these individual cells are beginning to line up in a north to south fashion, all the way from South Polk County to the northern sides of Lake, and maybe even sneaking into the southern sides of Marion County. So very interesting scenario here. Still think that these storms are likely to not hold together in the same variety as what we had off towards the east, but it is more widespread than what I would have expected behind the leading edge of the storms. Now again, gnarly, beautiful storm in Winter Garden. That storm's going to be backlit by the sunset across that camera, so we're going to get a really clear perspective of that storm. Still raining pretty hard in Lake Buena Vista as well. Special weather statement continues for the next 12 minutes. I got to be honest, this storm has spread out so much. This is not even the worst part of this cell anymore. The worst part is actually Montverde up towards Yahala, maybe up towards Leesburg. So the Weather Service might have to consider putting a special weather statement there. I think based on the trend, they're going to allow this special weather statement here to expire. We've seen that downtrend in the last 15 minutes. The lightning has spread east towards Lake Butler and Dr. Phillips and Lake Buena Vista. Windermere, Metro West. But you can see that this cell here is pulsed up a bit. Montverde, Astatula. Now I also have the ability to let my radar say, hey, Rusty, here's where the strongest storm is. When we have this many cells out there, it's a really neat thing to do. So sometimes I'll just let it do that. So the strongest cell is the one here that I just mentioned. You'll see the information on that. Notice again, the movement is north. That is your compass direction, north at 353 degrees. Obviously due north is 360, so almost due north. Then up the road, the northern extent of that is the second strongest cell. So that, I'm telling you right now, that leads me to believe, and I'm going to just zoom out to make sure that this is 100% right. Yeah, it is. So in all of Central Florida, it's the developing storms in Lake County that are now the strongest. You've got the southern extent, number 1. You've got the northern extent, number 2. And the bronze medal goes to a storm off in the Atlantic. And that's why I sometimes don't use this product, but it's fun. All right. Even a little bit of hail being detected now north of I-4 in Polk City, up 33 again. But this is all very getting congested. So I don't know if one cell is going to be able to take over another. If it is, you get the north edge, you get the south edge that typically take over and become the strongest. Typically it's the south edge because there's the clearer air here, if you will, with no additional thunderstorms off to the south and south inflow coming into that storm. A lot of times this northern extent gets choked out a bit with all the activity off to the south, but right now it's holding together fairly firmly. Asatula, Yahala, Leesburg, Fruitland Park, again, up to 320 lightning strikes in that view. Cole even says, I live right in that little pocket southeast of Yahala where there's hardly any rain. Well, sorry to hear that, Cole. All right, let's go back over to our winter garden cam. And again, it's going to be a really cool shot because we're backlit. So we'll be able to really see that strong thunderstorm moving through Lake County. Again, it's just to the west of our winter garden camera. So hopefully that continues to be the case, and that we're not going to see anything too significant across 429. But I do expect that to be a different story for areas off towards the west. So again, Claremont, Montverde, maybe even as far east as Oakland. Certainly not out of the question. Maybe as far east as Oakland. I have to monitor that situation for you guys. So again, there's Cole talking about that. Appreciate that, Cole. Okay. We'll go back over to our split screen view. And I bring up that winter garden camera from time to time, you know, in this big view, because I think that's, for those who are weather nerds like me, it's going to be a neat shot to see. You can see that feeder kind of coming in and moving along with that. And with the backlight of the sunset, going to be a pretty cool view. Lightning starting to pick up in Montverde as well. Rusty, it almost looks like you don't have a shirt on. Really? Oh, yeah. And no, Noble Pills, that's one way to not get views. It's like a peach color. Is it really that? But now, is it that, or is it your TV or your computer? I suppose it's somewhat close. Yeah, the Villages is huge. Starting to boom in Tampa. Again, appreciate everyone tuning in. Thanks for taking a quick second, hitting that like button for me. Want to thank all of our supporters today. Creator Warp, Peb Mets, Romans, XRP Plumbing. Thank you so much for the super chats and the super stickers. Supporting the channel that way really helps. If you guys want to do me a quick favor, hit that like button for me. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button for me. Again, it's a live only channel tracking these storms across Central Florida for you guys in a real-time basis with our live camera, with our live network of cameras, and of course, all the information you see on your screen. And the other great thing about this too is, you know, I don't have to spell everything out. You can clearly see what this special weather statement is doing, that it expires in 6 minutes, and that the threat is winds of 50 miles an hour. So as we're coming up on the 7 o'clock hour, this is the only special weather statement that's left. As I mentioned, they were likely to expire the severe thunderstorm warning early because that storm is offshore. And so they're covering that by a special marine warning. It's fantastic to see that this flash flood warning area has basically rain free right now. Okay, so that's tremendous to see. I hope there's no additional heavy rain here. Hopefully this activity just fizzles. Remember, now it's 7 o'clock. We've still got big time daylight this time of the year. We're just about 2 weeks past the summer solstice. Sunset is deep into the 8 o'clock hour, but hopefully we've raked the atmosphere enough, meaning that the atmosphere is more stable. We're not going to see a big pulse up of additional storms back into this area. This is one spot that has had 5-6 inches of rain and doesn't need a dime more. Strongest storm right now, probably just holding under special weather statement criteria, is that Montverde to Fruitland Park storm. A lot of lightning right now. If you guys live in Sunnyside, Fruitland Park, Leesburg, kind of wrapping around 441, Bassville Park, that is nearly 200 lightning strikes in the last 15 minutes. That's a really tight view for 200 lightning strikes. Again, the rain still in Lake Buena Vista, pretty much just overcast doom and gloom there in Sand Lake. So this special weather statement, in my opinion, will be allowed to expire at the top of the hour. We're left over now with more just widespread pockets of light, moderate, and even heavy rain. Fair amount of lightning here, 30 lightning strikes. But where we have the special weather statement, the trend is our friend. The storm intensity has been coming down. Let's hope there's no additional flood advisories. I need to check that real quick. So again, on this county by county map, we can look at the flood advisories too. They are gone. That is good news. What we got here? Special weather statement and then the flash flood warning. So here is that's the flood advisory. Let's see what this flood advisory is. Okay, it's the same one till 7. Again, it's not the flash flood warning. It's for the areas outside of the flash flood warning that have had 2 to 3 with an additional 1 to 2. Look, there's going to be a lot of folks here along and east of I-4 that will have picked up 3 to 4 inches of rain. This is for 3 to 5, basically, for that flood advisory. And again, the flood advisory does sneak into Volusia County as well. This one is going to go until 7 o'clock. Same situation, 3 to 5. But obviously the bigger story, or when we're talking about flooding, is when you have an actual flash flood warning. That means that flooding is occurring or is imminent, and it's a very dangerous situation. Rob, my friend, I hope you get that hour and a half. Denard says, skin-wise, still warm outside after the storms. Again, appreciate you guys taking a quick second. Let me know what's happening in your area. That helps out all of us. It helps me out. You know, I get the ground truth reports. Our friends who are watching the channel, even if they're not in the chat, will see that, and maybe they'll get a better understanding of what's happening. Again, wisdom of the crowd, guys. We want to use this interactivity to provide the best coverage that we possibly can. And being a live-only channel, we jump on when there's impactful storms, and when things are done, we let everyone go on their way. And, you know, we like it that way as well. Again, Charles, I do appreciate all the kind words. Thank you. So I like the trend. Again, you know, these storms pulsed up in Lake County. They're still stronger. There's still some decent lightning with them, but they're not getting any gnarlier right now. And I hope that will continue to be the case. Let's be clear about a couple things. The rain is still extremely beneficial. We are still under a tremendous drought throughout all of Central Florida, and it's going to take a long time to break that drought, okay? But what we don't need is what's been happening lately with the storms, and that's getting these pulse-up storms that have produced some pretty, you know, impactful weather in the form of some really strong winds, in the form of some flash flooding in some spots, and just, again, running folks in with all the lightning as well. Live look to Winter Garden again. That storm dissipating a bit as it's moving across this camera. If you live in Winter Garden, light rain falling right now, maybe moderate at times, but the bulk of the worst activity is just to the west. Again, it's a really cool shot because that camera is backlit right now, so we can clearly see exactly what's happening there. Rain is still falling through portions of Lake Buena Vista. It is wet. You can see the car moving by, and again, you know, not enough for any ponding on the roadway here, but just another day of storms. That's good in the sense of that, boy, we need that rain. But we've had severe weather the last several days. And of course, the holiday weekend, that wasn't the best day to have that. Live look outside to Conway. Again, quieter at this point in time. Just a little bit of a gentle breeze from time to time, some lighter rain falling here. Not expecting it to pick up too much more in that area. And that sky is just basically gray across Sand Lake. You guys know, if you've been outside over the holiday weekend, that even behind the heaviest storms, we're left with the overcast skies and the rain that will continue to fall in a light fashion for, in some areas, that could potentially be hours. It could be hours of additional overcast skies and light rain. Not adding up to much in the rain gauge, but just not fully clearing until well after the sunset hour. Hey, Pama Jamma, not much happening in Mount Dora. I appreciate that report. Thank you very much. Nothing in Maitland. Yeah, again, there's that little cone of silence for you right now in the Maitland area. Hey, Lady Rose, CW, one of the members of the channel. So If you are a member, your name is green, and I see that. You also have that custom badge next to your name. It says new. That means you're a member less than a month. Once you become a member for more than a month, your badge will change. You'll start getting those 1 and 2 month badges. In Fruitland Park, just west of Lake Griffin, the rain has mostly stopped. So thank you, Lady Rose. First of all, thank you again for being a member, but I appreciate that report. So Fruitland Park, woo, Rusty zoomed in way too quick on that one. I got too excited. So here you go, Fruitland Park on 27-441. There's the storm just to the east of there. So Lady Rose says just west of Lake Griffin, the rain has mostly stopped. So again, thank you for that report. Hey, Jared, good evening to you. When will the drought be beat? The last time I looked, most areas still needed an additional 25 to 30 inches of rain to fully be out of the drought. It's a tough scenario. Look, it's been wet. El Nino could provide us a wet summer, with the jet stream being a little bit more south and potentially enhancing the sea breezes. But we got a long way to go to fully get the water tables better. This helps. Certainly it helps. But it could be deep into the summer, if not early fall, even with this pattern. Not an everyday thing, but just with a wetter pattern to fully break that drought. I do have access to the drought monitor, by the way. Let me see here. So this is the latest drought monitor. I mean, does it spell out the rain any clearer than this, right? So you have gotten out of the drought in the eastern side of Brevard County, right? And then the farther west that you go, and the drier that it's been, the drought category is higher and higher and higher. There is one higher drought category, the exceptional, that's in maroon. I don't know if I see any here. I don't know if there's any across the United States. So just to give you an idea that there is one higher drought category in maroon. So the rain has helped, but basically the entire peninsula outside of a sliver of Brevard in Indian River County are still under a drought. It would be great if it could hand it out less abruptly. I'd be happy with the whole day of steady rain instead of 4 inches in an hour like we got on Saturday. Lady Rose, I absolutely agree with you. However, we do live in Florida, and we have a tremendous amount of moisture in the atmosphere. The sea breeze interaction produces a lot of lift in the atmosphere, and it's not Seattle. Unfortunately, Seattle is the gray overcast with the light rain all the time, and it just all soaks in. We are in store mainly in this time of the year, especially to just get these healthy thunderstorms, no doubt about it. All right, so we've hit the top of the hour. So we're at 7 o'clock at 7:03 officially. Again, right now, the flash flood warning will go until 7:30. That being said, the rain here has really fallen apart a bit, and I'm very happy with that trend as well, right? The fact that at this point in time, the heaviest rain has not moved back over that area. Even the rain to its east is fading a bit. You still have some moderate rain for Azalea Park and Union Park. Up the road in the 417 on the east side of Chuliota and Oviedo. Places like Maitland and Altamont and Castleberry and Winter Springs are kind of void of everything. Some of the lighter rain has snuck over towards Apopka. Strongest storm by a country mile right now is up in the Bassville Park area north of 441. It's not out of the question that they issue a special weather statement here, maybe up towards Umatilla or just to the west of Umatilla. If you live in this area, that storm's going pretty good. Probably some smaller hail, potentially for the Bassville Park area. Lightning counts up to 260. Just a good core of that particular cell. Another one has redeveloped here in Sumter County along 75, just south of the Bushnell area. And then you just have a lot of congested junk from portions of Hillsborough County, North Lake, North Polk, South Lake, Southwest Orange counties, all the way up towards East Seminole. Not a lot in the way of any organization with this. The trend is going to continue to be likely to slowly fade. Still some areas of rain likely over the next hour or two in these spots, but hopefully we've stabilized the atmosphere enough in these areas that have already seen showers and storms where there's no additional stronger activity likely to develop. One reason why that storm in Lake County is going is that it's been drier there today and their atmosphere has not been raked over by storms. Remember, when a storm moves into your area, it kind of takes away a lot of the instability and makes things a lot more stable behind that. It doesn't mean that additional storms can't develop and they can't be on the stronger side. It's just that for most instances, once you get the first dose of extremely heavy rain and lightning, even if you catch some activity later in the day, it's likely a little bit lighter in fashion. Tavares is close. Starting to thunder again in Mulberry. So there you go, a little second over there. Yeah, you just got grazed. So when you only get grazed, right, you have a better opportunity for some stronger activity to still be a part of your plans later in the day. But when you get this really strong stuff, typically that's a one and done scenario as far as the intense weather. Again, guys, as always, CFLW is sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. They offer free consultation and policy reviews. So you get caught into an insurance claim mess. Maybe you've had some wind or hail damage lately. They can walk you through that process. And since they offer free consultation and policy reviews, you got nothing to lose. You want to support someone who supports the channel, you can scan the QR code. It'll take you to their website. It's leanomnilaw.com. Bobby Lee and the team, they're great folks there. Hey, look, they even gave me a tumbler. So I appreciate them, and other accoutrements as well. Sunglasses, an LED light. I'm telling you, man, he hooked me up with some swag. So I appreciate Bobby Lee, and a pen, which is being used by another member of my family. So appreciate Bobby Lee and the team there being a supporter of the channel. Sponsor the channel. You want to sponsor the channel, scan the QR code you see in the top left-hand side of your screen right now. It'll take you directly to our email with the subject already put in, sponsorship. You can drop us a line if you're interested in sponsoring part of the channel or one of our weather cameras. Okay. So I feel pretty good about what's happening, right? No more special weather statements. I was waiting to see what the Weather Service wanted to do here. To answer your question, XRP plumbing, Tavares should be starting to get into some of that rain right now. If we look at the loop of this over the last half hour, you will see a bit of an east push, just a little bit. It's moving north, or it's developing north and then slightly moving off to the east. Look, additional spots of rain are developing back in the northwest sides of Orange County as well. It's really just a clustered mess with kind of one rogue stronger storm up in the Leesburg area. But again, at this point in time, no special weather statements. Some activity is trying to redevelop near the Zephyr Hills area, north of Gibsonia, west of Polk City. Again, pulse thunderstorms up and down in 15 to 30 minutes. That's the story for the West Coast. So this storm develops over Carrollwood and Seminole Heights and Town and Country and Temple Terrace, rains itself out in about 15 to 30 minutes with some lightning, and it's down really quick. It's tough for the Weather Service offices to issue special weather statements or severe thunderstorm warnings when they expect that kind of activity, because they like to issue those warnings for a little bit longer duration than what pulse storms typically can hold. But out west, these storms typically aren't going to hold or stay organized long enough for special weather statements. There's the Bushnell area. Again, some lightning moving up to that region. And this cell continues to track to the north and to the east of Leesburg. Sure, Cole. I can put it in a 6-hour loop. Cole wants to take the radar and loop it up for a full 6 hours, which I can do. Take me just 1 second to reset things. All right, so there you go. There's your full 6-hour loop. If you guys want to see how storms have kind of developed here. Again, the strongest storms early this afternoon were actually up in Putnam and northern Volusia and Flagler counties. We even had a severe thunderstorm warning up in the Palm Coast area briefly. You'll see that turn red very quickly. And then you can see the rest of the activity going. Again, with the prevailing winds out of the west, it's still pulling the west coast sea breeze farther inland. So it's interior and it's East Coast areas with the best chance for the showers and storms again today. Until that pattern changes, which I still don't see in the very near future, we're not going to see a big shift in where the best chance for storms and heaviest rain is going to be. From time to time, we'll still pick up pockets of heavy rain along the west coast, but just not as widespread as what interior and eastern sections are going to experience. That being said, I do expect a pattern change to develop later this week. We could still have some storms tomorrow. I might be on tomorrow or Wednesday. The chance is dropping, okay? But starting on Thursday, Saharan air, dust is forecast to come back over Central Florida, and that could start to undercut some of the rain chances in our area. So overall, I mean, it's been prolific the last 3 or 4 days. We don't want to see this every day anyway, but we're going to start to see a bit of a flip in the trend here and how that's going to play out. Just taking a real quick look at what's still currently in effect, and that's that flash flood warning. So nothing else is in effect there. Going to look at our local storm reports real quick. So you can see, I mentioned that there are a ton of reporting stations because of all of the rocket activity, if you will, at the Cape. They need to have a lot of sensors and towers to be able to profile the wind. So all of these blue ones are going to be wind reports, and then your greens are going to be flooding reports. I'm going to start with the flood reports here. So a weather underground site, 5.04 inches as of 6:45. Flooding near Westwood Drive, report of flooded cars. This is what we're talking about, right? Turn around, don't drown. Try not to get caught up in this. But if you live in the Titusville area, if you know Westwood Drive, reports of flooded cars. Here, 4.63 from a weather underground station. Here, 5.36 at a weather underground station. 6.44 Sherwood weather underground station. 6.45. Oh, sorry, 5.25. Am I reading it wrong? I am reading it wrong. I'm reading the time. Smart. Sherwood, 4.84 as of 6:44. 5.25 as of 6:45. And then 5.36 as of 6:36. All right. Bottom line is 4, 5, 6 inches of rain, some flooding there. Then this is all wind reports here, right? Again, have access to the buoy reports. So that was a 41. Now the towers out here. All of these Kennedy Space Center towers. Tower 110, 44. Here's a 46. Here's Tower 211 with a 39. Nothing crazy. 313 had a 40. I'm telling you, man, I wish we had this density of automatic reporting stations across all of Central Florida. Could you imagine that data as these severe storms come through? But I just know we're really clustered up here. Okay. Friends, I like what we're doing right now. I think things are cooperating. I think the storms that have produced the flash flood warning are getting out of that area. I think the overall trend is for us to continue to see these storms weaken a bit. Still could be some lightning associated with these storms over the next hour or two, but I believe the severe weather threat for Central Florida has faded for today. I'll be continuing monitoring the situation, but I think at this point in time, we'll go ahead and wrap up this live stream right now. Want to thank everyone for tuning in. Thank you for taking a quick second. Hit that like button and subscribing if you haven't. Again, for this channel, I do recommend having all notifications on. That is the bell symbol that you guys see. Click that, all notifications on. If you get a notification from me, it's because I'm on and there's a reason to tune in. Thank you to all the supporters, those who gave through the super thanks and super chat. Thank you to our moderators and members of the channel as well. And again, thank you for just tuning in. I appreciate that. Have a great rest of your Monday evening. If there's any reason to come back on live, I will. Of course, I'll be monitoring the situation for you guys on a daily basis, and when it is next necessary, I'll see you live here on CFLW, tracking the latest impactful weather in Central Florida. Again, hit that like button on the way out. You guys have a great rest of your Monday evening, and I'll see you soon on the channel. Until then, take care, my friends.